up, my fellow Mundo enjoyers? Today I'm happy to finally release the full Mundo push guide that has been promised quite a while ago. I said that once we reach 300,000 subs, we're gonna be making a Mundo push guide. We are closer to 400,000 than we are to 300,000, which is insane. I can give many excuses as to why this guide has been delayed, but instead of giving my excuses, I'm going to instead propose that I'll be giving away 10 CEO Mundo skins, corporate Mundo skins, and all you pretty much have to do is leave a comment and make sure that in that comment you also post your Discord. A few days after the video, I'll reach out to 10 people that I will also announce, and they are going to be the winners of the skin. Without any further ado, we are here to learn how to play Mundo, how to push all the way to Challenger Elo. So let's get started. In the video, you will all see timestamps to all the things that we'll be talking about. I'm going to give a full layout of everything I do in terms of setup, itemization, runes, summoners, and then we're going to uncover matchups and mid to late game scenarios where I'm going to go super in depth, so you all will know how to push from start to finish. Let's go! Alright guys, so let's talk about Mundo's identity. I already briefly went over it, but basically Mundo is a juggernaut slash bruiser type of champion, and what that really means for now is that we don't play our champion, say, as a normal traditional tank where, you know, we're trying to facilitate our team, or sometimes leaving side waves for our carries or anything like this. You are the carry, right? It's pretty much similar to, say, a Riven. We're going to be playing very resource intensive. You want all the resources that you can gather, and you're playing for yourself. One of the biggest things when playing Mundo is you don't play Mundo to dominate the laning phase. You learn how to neutralize the laning phase. The weakest part about Mundo's gameplay in general is his laning phase. And so whenever I'm joining a laning phase, unless it's a free matchup like Nasus or Kill, if you don't get those, pretty much every other matchup can be tricky, right? Mundo doesn't really have good matchups. So again, we're going to learn to neutralize. And so when I play Mundo in laning phase, I always say this in the games that I play. If you fall slightly behind or you're falling behind, it is kind of to be expected because you are a very weak champion. Learning how to go even very often is winning because you are a champion that is pretty much going to be outscaling 90% of the champions in the game. And then lastly, if you learn to get ahead in laning phase, well, you're going to be unstoppable because you are a scaling champion. And then once you get ahead, similar to, say, a Kassadin or a Kill, you're going to be very unstoppable. It's important to understand that you pretty much lose nearly every matchup in the top lane. But of course, with all the matchups, we'll dive more in depth on how you can pretty much circumvent this and always be in a fine spot. But it's important that when you're playing Mundo, you go into the game having this mentality. You are a champion that is pretty much designed to outskill most of the champions in the game. Now, what are some champions that you don't outskill? It's going to be champions that have either a lot of true damage and or percentage health damage, usually combined. So, for example, a champion like Gwen is very tricky. A champion like Aurelia when playing Rooking is very tricky. A champion like Vayne is another one, right? Fiora is another one. So these are like 4 examples where you're going to be on a timer when you're playing Mundo. But let's talk about the entire mage or assassin class. They are all going to get absolutely destroyed by Mundo. Let's say Ahri, Akali, I don't know, Victor, Orianna type champions, they cannot sidelane against Mundo. You're too strong. Let's talk about, I don't know, Zed, Talon, Silas, all of, like I said, Akali already, right? None of these champions can realistically do anything against Mundo. AD carries, there's only a few, like Vayne. Most of the AD carries just pretty much struggle against you, say like Ezreal or say like, I don't know, Sivir, Caitlyn, all these champions, they can't really kill you as reliably. Only like Vayne, Kog'Maw, which are not that common in the AD carry role to begin with. I mean, supports, I mean, I don't really think I have to go over that. Junglers, there's a few that are really annoying, say like Lilia type champions, usually because they can distance, but I mean, so many junglers. You absolutely destroy any jungler with flat damage or not a lot of, say, movement speed, kite, potential, or percentage health damage, you pretty much destroy. And so the way that I want you to kind of perceive Mundo is similar to Kassadin or Kill. Everybody knows that at level 16, Kassadin and Kill are like these late game monsters. Mundo is the same, but it can be accelerated even faster, which brings me to my next point, and that is Operation Warmox. You've all probably seen it, right? That's why you're here for the Mundo guide anyways. The second you get Warmox, Mundo turns into a beast. And the faster you learn to get towards your Warmox spike, the faster you can take over the game. If I have Warmox, there are almost no champions or items in the game that can stat check me or pretty much keep me into the side lane. Let's say I am a Warmox Mundo against an Eclipse Ambassa. I will always win. Why? She might beat me in the short trades or be able to trade even, but I just walk away, I heal back to full, there's nothing she can do anymore. She's half HP, I'm full HP, rinse and repeat. The only item that can realistically keep up with me is Ravenous Hydra in terms of sustain. Although the sustain is a little bit more conditional because he needs a mean wave to sustain with. And everything else I pretty much out-sustain so long as I'm out of combat. But of course, I'll get some visual examples later. But it's important to understand, you know, the idea of Operation Warmox. And let's say I have my Warmox against any mid lane champion like an Akali, Silas, LeBlanc, Victor, Ahri. I mean, I've had games where I'm 0-3 from top lane. I sideline against their mage that's 3-0 and I dive them. I mean, that's a thing, right? That is Mr. Mundo. And then the second thing is the power curve at level 11 and 16 specifically. Points in your ult are extremely important. When you get level 16 Mundo, you're like, it's one of the best level 16 abilities in the game. Because for every champion that's nearby you, when you cast ultimate, you get 5% additional healing on both effects. I'll showcase that more later. And level 11, the healing is significant as well. And so level 11 and 16 are very big spikes. And then what I've written out as the last point is the win conditions for Mundo. You have scaling, right? One of the best one. Split pushing, late game team fighting, even some mid game team fighting. And most important, we're gonna have to learn to understand tempo very well. So, quick, you know, condense of everything we've yapped about here. Mundo is a champion that you don't play him to win lane. You're going to learn to neutralize lane, but we're gonna try and always go even or maybe slightly behind in the laning phase. However, you get ahead, you get to Warmox faster. GG. We love to play for playthings. We love to play to neutralize, and then we're trying to get to Warmox as fast as possible. Level 11 and 16, and of course some itemized items like say your Warmox Heart Steel are great. Power spikes, and then we're looking to scale and win the game by playing for ourselves and gathering those natural resources in farm, gold, and EXP. Without any further ado, let's move on. So let's dive into the rune setup right here. The rune setup is very much catered to trying to get to the Operation Warmox as fast as possible. So when we take a look at our rune page, we're going to also have options that will facilitate getting to the Warmox as fast as possible. Let's start off with our main keystone, which is going to be Grasp. You can pretty much take this rune setup 100% of the time, and it's always going to be correct. I've tried to delve into using Phase Rush in certain matchups like Olaf and Gwen, but after testing, I firmly believe that this setup is correct 100% of the time. You're going to be taking Grasp of the Undying as your main keystone, and then we're going to be going for the Demolish. Now, the reason why Demolish is so ridiculously good is if you read the second to last line, it says that you will do an additional damage of 35% of your maximum health. And when we're playing Mundo, we're building maximum health in every single item that we purchase, right? Warmox and Heart Steel have a lot of health. Therefore, our Demolish will also increase. So Demolish is our choice 100% of the time. So you pretty much have three options here. I've played to Challenger on this account, going second wind every game. In certain free matchups, you're fine to try and go for conditioning, so you have more resistances. I think it is great, but with how weak your early laning phase is, even some of your best matchups, say like Nasus and Kill, which are your easiest matchups, I still prefer going second wind because it's kind of a win more rune in that sense too, because if you have more sustain, you have more health, that facilitates you through your already terrible laning phase, and then you get facilitated through that, you're gonna be fine in the game. This is the rune where I said it's so and more, right? At minute 12, you're going to be out of the hardest part of the laning phase, and then you get your conditioning, which is great, right? You get extra resistances and percentage resistances. However, it only starts applying at minute 12. I feel like at minute 12, I just want this to try and facilitate me there. And you can try taking bone plating in some of these very terrible early game matchups, say like a Riven level 1 cheese or like a Jax level 1. I still prefer second wind, but if you would prefer bone plating, that's fine too. I've stuck with second wind 100% of my games, and it has worked great. And then thirdly, you're going Overgrowth. There's no exception. You take this 100% of the time. Main reason as to why is if you read the bottom 3 lines here, it says when you've absorbed 120 monsters or enemy minions, gain an additional 3.5 maximum health. You don't need to kill 120 minions, it's just whenever 120 minions have died around you. This also counts, for example, for Yorick, so against Yorick you would stack this way faster. Or against a Malzahar champion. And then you gain an additional 3.5% maximum health, which is important to try and spike to your Warmox ASAP. And you usually hit this around minute 12-ish. Then the trickiest part is choosing between either magical footwear or approach velocity, and the reason as to why is because biscuit delivery is 100% select. The reason you take biscuit delivery every single time is because it permanently increases your maximum health by 30 for each cookie used, and also you get the sustain during the laning phase, which of course helps you get through that already bad laning phase. I've had countless situations where these biscuits have pretty much helped me defend any dive or dive potential, and so I take biscuits 100% of the time, and that leaves you then with the option of trying to go for magical footwear or for approach velocity. Approach velocity is really good because whenever you hit your Q, you gain movement speed towards your opponent, However, I will say I take boots 100% of the time because it's 300 gold for free that you're also able to sit upon. And the magical footwear boots are also better than, say, the standard boots because they give you an additional 10 movement speed. So you save 300 gold, but you also get a bit more movement speed, right? Which you can then use to upgrade to your boots faster. But you could also just sit on this and, for example, get a Deadman's Plate. And I've had games where I just go Warmox, Heartsteel, and then my Deadman's, and I still sit on these tier 1 boots that I've gotten for free. And it just allows me to eco to Warmox as fast as possible. I take magical footwear and biscuits 100% of the games. And then lastly, it's attack speed and double scaling health. I don't think I need to explain this too much. You want to get health to get to Warmox ASAP, and the attack speed is the best one out of these three. By taking this rune page 100% of the times, you're pretty much always going to be fine. If you want to switch it up a little bit, you can select between these ones or potential this ones. But for me, I would recommend to go magical footwear and second wind, and you're always fine. This is the proper rune page setup. Let's talk about summoners on Dr. Mundo. You're going to take teleport in 100% of your games. There's no exception. You will always take this, especially as a solo laner too. And the main reason why you need this is to get out of, the hard position in the laning phase. You're going to be pushed in pretty much every single time. And teleport allows you to kind of get what I refer to as a get out of jail free card, because with the teleport, you can always get back into lane regardless of the situation, right? The general preferred timer to recall is whenever the wave is pushing back towards you. However, as Mundo, we're very often going to be pushed in, where the wave is going to be pushing away from us. And we need to always be able to play out the bounces, hence teleport helps us out the most. Then we're going to have two different options, Ghost or Flash. Now, generally speaking, Ghost is my preferred summoner because your champion is an immobile champion, and the only form of utility, or let's say a mobility rather, that you can only get, really get is movement speed, and Ghost is great to be able to gap close, especially paired with your old movement speed, maybe Deadman's Plate, Boots of Swiftness, and additional speed amplifiers. However, there are some matchups where you're going to be taking Flash into instead. So I would say the ratio is maybe 30% Flash, 70% Ghost, and I'll run you through my thoughts. So I take Flash into some very tricky early game matchups, say for example a Riven matchup, because against Riven, if you don't have Flash, she can flash on top of you, you cannot escape. So anything that can easily get close on top of you, like an Irelia, like a Riven, like a Kled, I would take Flash into, especially when they're very strong early game champions as well. I would also take Flash against a top side that has dual potential to burn my Flash. Let's say I play against a Nunu, Shen E takes away my passive, and then a Nunu as well, so I will need Flash to be able to get away every single time. And then I take Ghost into pretty much everything else. So let's say I play against Kindred Shen, I can just take Ghost because even if the Shen E's me, I can just Ghost away. Any tank matchup, most range matchups, any scaling oriented matchups, you can just take Ghost. And against specific champions, like let's say maybe a Jarvan ult, you can always consider taking Flash as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So 30% of the time I'll be taking Flash, 70% of the time I'm taking Ghost, teleport 100% of the time. Nothing else really. Let's move on. So let's get into the itemization options for Dr. Mundo. I'm going to keep it as, easy and concise as possible, because when we get to the matchup and especially the gameplay with the mid-game examples, I'm going to go more thoroughly in depth as to why I would go certain item builds. But I still think it's great to kind of have a blueprint and a general understanding of when you should be choosing what path in terms of your itemization. Starting item is a Doran Shield. 100% of your games, no exceptions, very simple. We're going to go for our Warmox first item, 100% of the games as well. I never want to see you go Heartsteel first as a Mundo top lane player. And this is because you always want to get both of these items. You want to get both Heartsteel and your Warmox, but it's faster to go Warmox into Heartsteel than going Heartsteel into Warmox. Yes, getting the Warmox passive to work is going to cost you 4,000 gold compared to the Heartsteel only costing you 3,000 gold. And then you can argue you can start stacking faster once you have your Heartsteel. However, that is the most important part. The second you have Warmox as Mundo, you're able to dominate the map in a completely different manner than you would be able to with Heartsteel. See, once you get Warmox, you get access to so many more things on the map. You can play like an absolute criminal, take plates under somebody's nose, lose 80% of your health, walk away for 20 seconds, and come back with full HP. You can take jungle camps, lose a quarter of your health, doesn't matter, you're sustaining. You don't have these options where you're gonna go for a Heartsteel. And that is why I will go Warmox first 100% of my games. I got Challenger playing Warmox first 100% of my games. I'll show you in the game as well, but this conversation needs to be had because that's probably the question I get asked the most. You get Warmox first every time. Now, the prioritization of items you're gonna go is you're gonna go Triple Giant's Belt into Warmox finished. And it is because this component right here, it's the 800 gold component, this Crystalline Bracer, is a very gold inefficient item. You see, it only gives you 200 health for 800 gold, whereas for 800 gold, you could also get 300 HP. And health is the most important stat on Mundo because you will get more damage by more health that you have. We're going to explain that in the abilities, but the more health that you have, the more damage that you will be doing. In terms of prioritization, I always want ruby crystals, but giant's belt are even better because for 900 gold, you can actually get 350 health, which is even better. I stack 3 giant's belt and then I finish my full warmox. In total, you need 4,000 gold to get there. Let's say I recall on 1,700 gold, it's going to be giant's belt and 2 ruby crystals. Let's say I recall 800 gold, very simple, 2 ruby crystals. 900 gold is going to be giant's belt. But let's say I recall 1,200 gold. Now it's a tricky one. What do you do in 1,200 gold? Are you going to go giant's belt and a, what's it called? A rejuve beat? No, you go triple ruby crystal. You're always trying to optimize getting as much health as possible. And if you want to go down the route of, let's say you have a 1,600 gold recall, you can actually go for 4 ruby crystals, but no more past that because you get 3 giant's belt and 1 extra ruby crystal in the crystalline bracer. So you can only go for 4 ruby crystals and then your de-shoot, and then you also need to keep a spot for your boots. But you know, maybe it's a bit hard to visualize everything I'm saying here, but maximum, like let's say loose ruby crystals you can buy in your inventory is going to be capped to 4. You don't buy past that, and that's pretty much it. Giant's belt into Warmox armor, and then we get towards our boots. One closing note: never sell your de-shoot before Warmox because you actually need the 110 health that the Thorn Shields provide in order to get the Warmox passive, which is an additional 2,000 health bonus. I sold my de-shoot! I sold de-shoot, Alois, you absolute idiot! I can, oh my days, I sold de-shoot. With our rune setups, with Grasp, with Overgrowth, with the health scaling from Level Up, and with the biscuits, and then with the de-shoot, and then when you have Warmox and 1 giant's belt with the Overgrowth proc, you will have enough for your giant's belt. Sometimes you only need Warmox and 2 ruby crystals, so you need 3.9k gold in total, and then you have the Warmox passive too. Once you have Warmox, very often I'm going to be ecoing into my Heartsteel, and so the additional giant's belt that we have is also going to go into said Heartsteel. You're gonna need an additional 2.1k gold. Very often what I will do is actually prioritize getting my tier 2 boots first. Now there's 2 options. You either go plated steel caps or boots of swiftness. I'd never go merc threads because you have your passive which blocks any hard form of incoming CC. And so that leaves you with boots of swiftness and plated steel caps. Now let's talk about plated steel caps first because I would go this maybe 5 to 10% of my games, and I only go this into heavy AD comps, especially into comps where they have massive amounts of either true damage or percentage health damage. Say they have like Aurelia Yasuo as their solo laners, or say they have a Vayne top and like a Kindred jungle, right? You need survivability and you need resistances, and those are the games where I'll be going plated steel caps. Into pretty much everything else, I'm taking boots of swiftness, and this is because it gives you the most movement speed out of any boots, but crucially, it also reduces the effectiveness of slows by 25%. And when we are in a mobile champion that is actually able to block any hard incoming CC because of our passive, the only CC that blocks us the most are slows, like a Nasus W or like a Zillion slow, right? So slows are the most annoying form of CC, and that's why boots of swiftness I purchase 90% of my games. These are objectively the best boots on Mundo. Again, they give you the most amount of mobility as an immobile character. And usually I'll build these before finishing my Heartsteel, unless I have the full gold of Heartsteel in one go after, getting on the map with my Warmox. But let's say I have 1,400 gold on my first recall after finishing Warmox, I'll happily purchase the Boots of Swiftness and then finish up my Heartsteel later. Let's say I recall with 2.1k gold, then I'll build the Heartsteel first and just sit on the tier 1 boots. And that's pretty much it. So you go de-shoot first, 100% of the time into Warmox, you rush this, and then after you finish Warmox, you can finish either this boots, most commonly, otherwise this boots, and then you go into Heartsteel. This is the steps I took 100% of the time. Only exception, and that is the only one, is if you play against heavy anti-heal in the early game. So there's this Bramble Fast here, and I'll pull it up here. And the only time where I would build Bramble Fast is against, say, a Warwick in the lane, because you can't really push him in, and you need this anti-heal. Warwick is the only matchup where I would build the Bramble Vest before Warmox, and into some comps I would build this after my Warmox. And against certain champions like Aatrox and Fiora, I built this after Warmox, because she's gonna have Ravenous Hydra, you're gonna have Warmox, and then with the Bramble Vest you can actually combat her because she denies her sustain. But I would still eco into Warmox as fast as possible, into Fiora, into Warwick, you can go Bramble first. This is also a more matchup dependent thing, right? But I think it's important to mention, but in all other cases, you just straight eco into Warmox. And then we pretty much have two different options. We can go the Giga Chat route, or we can go to tank, and I've also noted this down as the most optimal route. Now, at the latter stages of my climb, say from Grandmaster to Challenger, I would say that I've played the tank variation probably 80% of the time, and the AD variation about 20% of the time. So because the Giga Chad route only is played 20% of the time, naturally, when you build a lot of health, this is a 900 health, and this gives you 1000 health, paired with all the other health applications that we have. Usually at 2 items, we're going to be sitting around 5 to 6000 HP. Logically speaking, when you have this amount of health, it makes sense to build resistances, because when you already have this amount of health and then you add resistance on top of that, all the health that you already have basically becomes more valuable because you're going to be tankier as a whole, right? Which is just very logical thinking. And these items still give you health as well. So the 2 items that I'll go for most commonly is going to be a Deadman's or Spirit Visage third, and then the other one 4. So if I need more armor, I go Deadman's Blade third after my Heartsteel, and if I need more magic resist, I'll go Spirit Visage third, but then I always get the other one after. The only other item that's worth to talk about here maybe is Unending. I haven't added this in, so it's good to add it in here too. This is the one I used to go for before, but I don't really like this item as much anymore. I think Deadman's and Spirit Visage are objectively better, and these are the items that I kept building every time. When do you build this? Basically, when these are the most optimal. You're never really wrong building this, and whenever you are in a position where you're going to be outscaling in the game, these are objectively the best, because at level 60, when you have these 4 items, you're going to sit around 300 AD, 7000, 8000 HP. With all of these resistances, you're practically unkillable, but you can still kill them. And that is the most disgusting position to ever be in. You can still split push, you can team fight, you can pretty much do everything with this build. And then you can finish off with your 6th item, either with the Randuin's, maybe an Unending Despair, maybe a Jaksho, or a potential Titanic Hydra, depending on the position in the game. And I'll go into that with the mid-game examples that we'll run into. But basically, these, you know, number 3 and number 4 are objectively the most optimal, and then you can finish it off whatever you need realistically in the game, right? Sometimes instead of going for Deadman's, you might need to go for a Bramble in between. I would never finish it. I would still go Deadman's, because again, this will give you movement speed and slow resistance too, which is the same, you know, reasoning to why we go for Boots of Sweetness too. And of course, this gives you magic resist, but also increases all heals and shields on you by 25%. I don't think I need to further explain why heal increase is so good on a champion like Mundo. Now, when do I go for the Giga Chad route? I go for the Giga Chad route when building more resistances and health aren't as optimal, because they have, for example, true damage and percentage health damage. Let's say I play against a Vayne in the side lane. Building more health and resistances isn't necessarily going to save me, because she can shred both of them. In those kind of games, I would prefer to go for a more damage-oriented route, so that I can kill them before they can kill me. I would still go Warmog's Heartsteel, but then I would go Titanic into Overlords instead, so that when I meet her in the side lane, I can just kind of try and one-shot her. And it's going to be more so a kind of one-shot potential build. This build is also best if you want to progress the game purely through side laning. This is a more so 1v9 catered build, where you're going to be able to one-shot nearly everything that is in front of you, genuinely, but you also are at a risk where you have no resistances, so you're also easier to kill. So I, generally speaking, just go this into champions like, let's say, Yone on the side lane, Vayne on the side lane, a potential champion like Aurelia, Trundle, this could work against. You could still go for the tank build against set champions, right? That can still work, but especially when I'm ahead against the Vayne, I would love to go for this instead, where whatever, if she meets me in the sideline, I can just always one-shot her, and she doesn't really become a threat to me unless we both get to 6 items. So those are the games where I would go for this, which is about 20% of the time. Or if I'm super far ahead and I feel like I can just control the game and just keep my grip over it, then I can also go for this itemization route. Or if I want to progress the game purely by split pushing, then this build works as well. So those are the situations where I take this. To pretty much everything else, you can go for the tank, and again, that will generally speaking be the most optimal. And then I would either build this 6th, this 6th, this 6th. And if you go for this, right, you're gonna go Warmog's Heartsteel, then I would go Titanic into Overlords, and then maybe as your last item you can go for either Deadman's or Spirit Visage. Or if you really want to go all the way, you can go for the Sundered Sky, right? So Sundered Sky would be the last component, and I kind of refer to this as like the Thanos gauntlet, because if you get Warmog's Heartsteel, Titanic, Overlord, Sundered Sky, you one-shot everything. Your crit with E amplification, Heartsteel, and Titanic Hydra, and 1 auto attack can do upwards to 2000 damage, which is how I one-shot a champion before. You may have seen the clip where I one-shot the Vex. I one-shot her! That's pretty much it for the itemizations on Mundo. So to quickly summarize everything we talked about, you shoot 100% of the time into Warmux 100% of the time. Then usually Boots of Swiftness before finishing your Heartsteel. Only play the steel camps when you face a lot of AD. Ramble fast first against Warwick only. Against everything else, you want to eco into Warmox, and then after Warmox, you can buy Bramble fast against certain like healing champions like Olaf, Fiora, Aatrox type champions. You go for the tank build in most scenarios, unless you face a lot of true damage and 30% health damage, or you want to progress to split push, then you go for the Giga Chat route. Against everything else, you go for the tank route. And that is pretty much it. Let's go over all of the abilities for Dr. Mundo, a little bit of the combos, and basically everything that is important to know about Mundo's ability usage. Let's start off with the passive. Now, there's two parts to the passive. The first thing is after, getting hit by any immobilizing effect, so like an Aatrox Q3, Camille E, a Riven W, a Riven Q3, any form of hard CC, you will lose your passive, and you will lose 4% of your current health, and you'll drop a chemical canister nearby for 7 seconds. And if you move over it, it will reduce the cooldown by 15 seconds flat and restore the 4% of maximum health back. And that's pretty much it. So what's important to note as well is that it reduces the cooldown by 50 seconds flat. And see, at level 1, your passive cooldown is 60 seconds. But if we increase to, say, level 15, it will actually be 15 seconds, the passive. So at level 15, when you pick up the passive, you will instantly have it again. So you can get CC'd, pick it up, you instantly have it again. So level 15 is a very big power spike towards your passive. Okay, now let's talk about the Q. So Mundo's Q is a cleaver, dealing percentage current health magic damage to the first enemy hit, and it slows them for 40% for 2 seconds. Basically, the higher health your opponent has, the more damage your Q will do. If we were to spawn, say, a dummy, when it's full HP, it will do most damage. If it goes lower HP, right, my first Q dealt 200. Okay, it heals back in time, so I'm going to keep it in combat here. The first one dealt 200, right? When they're low HP, it's going to do 135. So the higher health somebody has, the more damage it will do. Crucial to note as well is that your abilities cost health instead of mana. So your Q, just baseline, costs 50, but if we increase our levels, for example, to level 4, two things you'll notice. Actually, no, I need to go to level 4 and upgrade my Q, is that my passive cooldown is now reduced, but your Q also costs more, 60 health. Now, if you miss your cleaver like this, it will cost you 60 health flat. So losing your cleaver and not hitting anything is pretty, pretty costly. If you hit an enemy, it will get back with the full 60 health. If you hit a minion, for example, you only get back half, 30 back. So you miss it, lose 60, hit a champion, get all 60 back, hit a minion, get half of it returned. W is the most difficult ability to explain. So I'm going to read it out first, and then we'll learn everything about it. So when you use W, it costs you 8% of your current health. And then you'll charge up and you do 20 magic damage each second for up to 3 seconds to nearby enemy. So there's a bit of a damage part, but that one is very easy to understand. There are two parts that are a bit trickier to understand. So additionally, it restores 83% of damage taken for the first 0.75 seconds, and then only 25% for the remaining duration. So it lasts 3 seconds. However, for the first 0.75 seconds, you will get a lot more gray health if you time it correctly. So it's super important that you learn to time this ability correctly, and that's also the hardest ability to utilize for Mundo. The second thing is the recast. So if you recast it on at least one champion, you actually restore 100% of your gray health. Otherwise, you only restore 50%. So, and I'm going to showcase this very clearly with the example of using a turret shot. So if you use your W, or sorry, this is what a normal turret shot would look like. If I use my W instantly the turret shot, you'll see I get a big chunk of gray health, 83% of the damage taken. Let's say use my W in advance here, and then get it. You see, I only got 25%. So the difference again, very clearly. If you time it properly, when you're about to take the damage, you see here, I will get 83%. And if I just use it normally, let's say I already use it in advance, I only get 25%. So the timer in which you use your W is the most important. And then the second part is the way you recast your Ws. If I recast my W like this, not on a champion, I only get 50% of the gray health back. However, if I use my W like so, and then recast it on a champion, I will recast for 100% of the gray health. So there's two parts. First things first, it's the timer in which you use it. Second part is how you recast it, preferably on a champion. And again, this is going to be the trickiest thing to use. So basically, in any matchup, what you want to figure out is when am I going to get hard CC'd, or when do they have the most damage? Because remember, when you lose your passive, you also lose 4% of your current health. So let's say a Camille is about to EQ into you, that could be a great time to use it. Or let's say a Jax jumps into you and is going to Q auto EU, for example, right? You could block all of this damage with just your W in the 0.75 timer. Another great one, for example, is a Galio combo or a Gragas combo, which is a pretty common matchup in the top lane too. If he's gonna EWQ you in 0.75 seconds, you could literally heal back for 83% of his entire combo, which is ridiculous, right? But it all comes down to learning to time it correctly, and that's where the real skill expression, yes, skill expression in Mundo. Now, the E is very simplistic. It costs you 10 health, and of course will get higher the more points you put into it. And what's important is that from your passive, you gain attack damage. Level 1, it's gonna be 15, but now because we're a bit higher, we'll be getting more. Basically, it's an auto attack reset that will do additional damage. It will also give you a range increase. So this is my basic range when I use E. You see my range is slightly increased. And then it deals more damage too. You will have this as an auto attack reset. So the way that you can utilize this as well, for example, when I get my E back here, is you can auto insta E. So auto E. Well, I cancel my auto, but you get the point, right? And then lastly, if you kill something with the E, you can actually use this as a last hitting tool. So for example here, if I last hit a minion or this with my E, it's gonna fly through and I would hit every target behind it as well with this E, right? So anything this would fly through will get hit as well. So for example, if there was multiple minions that were standing behind it, it would kill those as well. Besides, what's important to note is that your E is a passive. I'm shift clicking over it right now. You see the bottom line, it will say health into attack damage. So right now, 2% of my health gets converted into attack damage. If you have 5 points in E, it's gonna be 2.8%. So once you have all 5 points in E, 2.8% of your health will be converted into AD. And that's why if you're going to be leveling your abilities, what it's usually going to look like is you're going to put 3 points into Q, so you get a bit more poke damage, right? So in the early game, you're going to put 3 points in Q pretty much every time. And then you're going to full max into E, unless you're hard losing your matchup. If you're hard losing your matchup, you can full max Q. Into every other scenarios, I'm going to be full maxing my E. So at about level 10, you get all points in E. So this is what it would generally speaking look like. And of course, now when you look at your passive, it's going to be a lower cooldown too. Now it's already at 33. Right now we understand our passive, right? When you get hard to seed, it will drop a shell that you can pick up again, reducing the cooldown. Also, you lose health when you get procced, and you when you pick it up again, you gain health. Right, I'm going to warp away from those sounds. Then we go to our Q. It costs health to use it. If you hit a champion, you get all the health back. If you hit a minion, you get half back. If you miss it, you lose all the health. And the higher HP somebody is, the more damage it deals, and you slow them. W is the most important one and also the trickiest one. Now you see it restores for an additional 88% of the damage taken. And so it's just extremely important that you learn to time this W well. If you're gonna get burst, let's say a Camille Q3, or Q2 rather, or an Ajax Q3, or a Riven W auto attack, or a Jax auto W, any type of burst that Nasus Q, this is where you want to time your W, and if possible, recast it on the champion to receive 100% of your gray health, otherwise you only restore 50%. And then your E is an auto attack resets that grants you extra AD. This is the ability we're going to be maxing after putting in Q, and then you always want to try and last hit a minion with this to swing it through it, otherwise utilize it as an auto attack reset with an range. Lastly is your ultimate. There are a few parts to your ultimate as well. When you use your ultimate, you gain 50% of your missing health as maximum health. So basically what this means is the lower health you are. Yeah, so I'm gonna ult at auto refresh HP here. Okay, so let's say I ult at full HP here. I actually gain 0 additional health because you will gain 50% of your maximum health, missing health as maximum health. So if we then lose, let's say, half our HP, and now we use our ultimate, we're gonna go for 1748 to, boom, 1880. So we gained a bit more over 100. And then if we do that one more time, but this time at a very low HP threshold, basically the lower HP you are, I think I can tank one more. Right, the lower HP you are, the more healing you will get as well. See now I got an additional 300, right? So that's the first part to it. And you regenerate 20% max health over 10 seconds. But crucially, read the bottom line. At rank 3, both healing effects are increased by an additional 5% per nearby enemy champion. So level 3, you become a real beast. And also you gain movement speed while casting it. Now, level 11, this ultimate is significantly better. Because as you guys can see, the max health percentage is going to be to 40%. Your bonus health is 20%, and the movement speed is 25%. But especially the maximum health percent healing increasing to 40% is amazing, and a movement speed to 25% as well. Level 16 is even better, but level 11 is already really good. So that's really it, right? So generally speaking, you want to find a combination of figuring out when you want to ult. When you're at half HP, or let's say a third of your HP, that's generally speaking when it's going to be best for you to ult, because you're going to get the maximum value of the percentage missing health, but still being able to utilize the max health percentage healing that you have as well. And then of course sometimes you'll have to ult just for movement speed to either get away or to get close. And there is one more combo that I want to show you, because what you could do to instantly get a big burst of health back is sometimes what you can do is you're going to take a turret shot and you're going to sync this up with your W, and then you're going to press ult first and then W, boom. Now you got best of both worlds. So you're instantly back to half HP, you got more max health during the ult duration, but you also instantly get a burst of health back, right? So that's one good way to basically showcase, arguably, you know, the most common combo used on Mundo, where you're going to be dropping to a low HP consciously with your W, and then you're going to ult W, and you instantly have, you know, the increased healing, but you also get the W healing to instantly be at the safe HP threshold as well. And I think these are pretty much all the combos you can talk about, right? You have the Q Auto E, very simplistic combo. I mean, your W, generally speaking, you don't really use it for the damage sometimes when you're wave clearing, but in most case scenarios, you're going to be using your W, of course, for the damage block. You want to try and recast this on champion. I think everything now makes sense. The only thing to really showcase is that at level 15, you see your passive is going to be 15 seconds cooldown. So whenever somebody CCs me now, I can easily pick it up and I good. And yeah, level 16, whenever you ult for every nearby enemy champion, you will get increased healing effect. So right now, if I ult, I'll go back to 2.6, right? So to quickly summarize all of our abilities, I mean, we've already kind of went over it. I think our passive is very easy to understand now. Our Q you should understand as well. W is good, E is good, ult as well. The W and ult combination I showed you guys too. I think now you guys, yeah, you all have a good understanding of how our abilities work. And like as a general baseline, I'm still going to cover the ability usage a bit in some of the matchups that we're going to go over in the mid-game examples. But now you guys all should have, you know, a general good understanding of how every ability works and how you want to utilize them. There is one combo on Mundo that is important and definitely worth to explain, and that is the Machine Gun Mundo combo, and I've named it as such. The reason why I've named it Machine Gun Mundo combo is because you're able to do 3 auto attacks really fast. And that is through the Titanic Hydra item. I explained in the ability usage that your E is an auto attack reset, but your Titanic Hydra is an auto attack reset as well. So with double auto attack reset, you can do a combo called the Machine Gun Mundo combo. So you basically have to stand next to your target, you press Auto E Titanic Hydra in a fast combo. Auto E Titanic Hydra. Okay, I messed it up there. But you can do it really fast, like Auto E Titanic Hydra, like that. And if you do it really fast, you can do like so. And within a second, you pretty much do 3 auto attacks that can also be amplified with Heartsteel, like Auto E Titanic Hydra. And if you do this fast enough in the game, you can completely one-shot and wipe people before they even get to flash or use any defensive summoner or spell. Whilst Mundo doesn't really have any combos, this combo is definitely worthwhile knowing, but it's only applicable when you have the Titanic Hydra. Normally it's Auto E, right? And now you do Auto E Titanic Hydra. Just like that. Machine Gun Mundo or the Max Slipper combo. So let's jump into the matchup tier list that you're going to be facing as Mundo. There is kind of 2 criteria that I went by to formulate this list. First things first, how bad are the matchups that you're going to be playing objectively? But secondly, also, how bad is the matchup going to be panning out in the terms of side laning too and like scaling options in the game? For example, the reason why I'm completely fine being against, say, a Camille over an Irelia is because Camille I can actually outskill. If I'm even, I'm going to be stronger. If I'm even with Irelia, I still lose. That's why Irelia is harder, but she's also harder to deal with in lane, right? So those are the 2 criteria combined. So ban that I always go with, and I highly recommend for you to go with as well, is going to be Gwen. Gwen is one of the worst matchups to lane against. You start losing as early as level 1, but she still beats you after first resets. She beats you after first items. She beats you. You never win. You never win. And that is why this champion is arguably the worst to play into. I remember being 10-2 against a 1-6 Gwen. I had 5 items, she had 3. She beat me, and I just felt hopeless. And that is really how you're going to feel in this matchup very often. And not only is she playing in top lane, she's also playing in jungle. And if you play against her in jungle and she gets ahead, good luck, you are a healing 2 for Gwen. Irelia is one of the worst as well. And so what I usually did is I asked for the Gwen ban because it's the most commonly played, and then I banned Irelia myself. And then the rest of the top lane champions, they're just bad. Kled is being changed, so I'm not sure what it's going to be with Kled, but the current Kled is his anti-heal built in his Q, and the percentage health damage that is W. He's able to one-shot you Warwick is arguably the worst champion to face level 1 as Mundo. We're gonna go into a matchup later where you'll see that, but yeah, Aatrox is terrible. Always Q sweet spots block my passive, so I basically don't have a passive. And as an immobile champion, I cannot escape any of his combos, so it's a terrible matchup. And Rumble is also a whole different beast. What you'll kind of see in, like, I've divided into hard 50-50 skill, fine for Mundo, and easy free skill lane. So let's start it off here. None of these champions have a reliable way to kill Mundo in the lane, so they're pretty much easy and free scaling matchups. If I've ever faced any of these matchups, I'm genuinely just happy. Cassio, I put up easy free. Actually, Cassio is the only one that I put in skill. Instead, she should not be in the easy free. These ones are all in the easy free. Cassio's in the skill. My bad on that one. Then fine for Mundo are all of these matchups. And either they are not, you know, strong enough to reliably kill me in lane or pressure me down, or my W simply works too good against them. These are all kind of farm matchups. There's not too much interaction. For example, if I'm playing against Urgot, my passive blocks his E, which is how he mainly wants to play, and I can just kind of keep range at him with my Q as well. So it's a completely fine matchup, and also the way I time my W is completely fine against him too. And in order for him to ult me, he needs to land his E first. So this matchup is completely fine for me. Same for gameplay, he doesn't have any reliable way to kill me. It's very hard. I can always just free farm. My W is too broken against Gragas. Alois is just a farm matchup, just dodges E. It's a tricky matchup, it sucks, but you outskill and you're fine. Garen, kind of same thing. Ornn is just a tank matchup. Ornn is one of the few range top lane champions that I don't struggle against too hard. Before the first base, it's pretty hard, but after the second base, I can kill this champion pretty reliably. And so this is one of the few range champions that I actually don't struggle against at all. Cho'Gath, again, a tank where you can just free skill against Mordekaiser. He needs to land his E before his ult can, you know, work. And so my passive is really broken against Mordekaiser. Same with Rice. My W and passive is really broken against Reddington because it's very telegraphed when he's going to use it, so you know when he's going to use his burst. The same for Reddington and Jax. And so if Reddington W's me, I lose my passive and he does the full burst. It's extremely easy to W and to insta recast it onto him as well. And then Vladimir Malphite are just kind of, you know, farm matchups too. For the 50-50 skills, these are champions that are more volatile. You can either, you know, just, you know, try and go even pretty reliably, or you can get hard stomped by these matchups. So it's skill-oriented matchups. And for example, Darius is pretty fine for Mundo because my E blocks is passive, but there's more ways for him to kill me than most of these champions that I put in the fine. K'Sante is definitely a tank that can kill me. I was hesitant to put him between hard and skill, but I'll put him in skill because it's not as easy for him to kill you. You can kind of just farm. Riven! See, she can reliably get close onto you, and it's super tricky to play against her early, but if you know what to do, it becomes completely fine, and you outskill her after one item. You fall behind. Rengar top, super aggressive, tricky to deal with. Shen, you know, my passive is really good against him, but he's super oppressive in the early game. And so all of the champions kind of have the same philosophy. These champions can destroy me, but if you play fine, you're going to be, you know, okay. There's definitely some counterplay potential, and your kit functions okay against them. It's a skill-oriented matchup. And that leaves us with the last, you know, the hard ones. And these are all champions that either have, you know, a strong enough early game or range advantage that you can just completely stat check you and zone you off the wave, like Varus, Teemo, Vayne, Nidalee type champions. Aurora, they're just super obnoxious to deal with compared to Quinn. Quinn is still hard, but these other champions, they are just creatures. You know, they are very hard match. And then the other ones are champions that are either still really good to stat check you, they match your spikes, or they even potentially outskill you. For example, Mbessa, she outskills me. She has percentage of damage in her Q, and she has a very good, reliable way to get those onto me continuously. Right? Not as easy as, say, an Irelia would, but I mean, she still makes my matchups very hard. Same with Volibear, he can actually outskill me pretty easy in side lane because I can never really get away from him. Same with Trundle, right? Tryndamere, easy get close. Fiora, percentage of true damage. Yorick is just an whole different beast. You can farm even into him, but with how strong Yorick currently is, he's super tricky. Udyr has an insane amount of damage, percentage of damage in his isolated Q. Pantheon, it's either hard or skill. It's just don't die pre-6, you're gonna be fine. But if this guy plays with the wave states well in the early game, it is such a tricky match. Yone, goes Blade Rune King, speaks for itself. Yeah, most Blade Rune King users are definitely on the hard one because it's percentage health damage. And champions with percentage health damage and true damage are, you know, between terrible and hard. Champions that are not, because those are champions that are going to be scaling linear with you or even beating you in side lane. And most champions on skill, fine for Mundo or easiest, you just outskill and you're going to be fine. And yes, Is Mundo gonna outscale necessary kill? Yes, you do. You absolutely do. So yeah, this is my general matchup overview, and then we're gonna dive into some matchups and some mid-game examples going forward. Alright, guys, let's deep dive into the first matchup right here, which is the Mundo Jax matchup. The first thing that I always do when I'm loading into the game, or I'm in the game like here, is checking the setup that our opponent is playing. See, we're playing against Jax, but he could have different setups. He could be playing with Flash Teleport, D should start and going with Grasp Inspiration, or he could be playing like this instance with Flash Ignite, Lethal Tempo, and a Doran's Blade. Same champion, different setup, and he's going to be playing differently around his setup as well. He has Teleport and a D shoot, it's a bit more passive, short trade and sustaining. If he's playing Flash Ignite with Lethal Tempo, right, he's going to be playing to try and go a lot more aggressive. So we also have to be wary with that, and that also allows us to make better plans heading into this matchup. As we stated earlier, Jax is a stronger level 1 champion than I am. And the main thing that I want to look out for, especially when I play against a champion that is super strong level 1, and when he puts his entire setup towards that as well, is to not get zoned from the first 3 minions worth of EXP. That is going to be my first goal playing in a matchup like this. What I do to circumvent that is I'm going to, of course, stack my Q. I'm doing some random laughing emojis here, very important. But my goal is to make sure that Jax doesn't get control of this push. Because if the minions are going to meet in a neutral position right here, and he's standing in this push, right, it's going to be very tricky for me to walk forward because he can just basically block me by standing in my face, and I cannot stat check him. He beats me in the extended fights. So what I have to do instead is gain early access to this bush, and then what you'll see me do is I'm going to use my first ward in this bush. This ward does 2 things. Of course, it spots the Jax, and I'm able to keep my distance, but it does leave me potentially vulnerable to any early jungle ganks. However, remember, our goal is to lose priority. So if my goal is to lose priority anyways, I don't need this gank to spot out potential jungle ganks because I'm just looking to get pushed in, meaning I don't need to spot where the jungler's at, unless they're going to be diving me, but I mean, what is a vision gonna help you once you're getting dove anyways, right? So we don't necessarily need to use this early game ward to try and spot the jungle gank. I just make sure that I'm not gonna be able to get cheesed, and by putting this ward down like here, I don't give Jax a way to walk into this push. I can now use my Q to play at distance, and of course I always have my passive to keep him at bay as well. Now, I'm going to pause the frame here and explain one of the main concepts that we want to do in any Mundo laning phase, not just the Jax matchup, but it's important that we put heavy emphasis on this because this is also the first matchup that we're going to be covering. When trying to play even as Mundo, it's important that we of course try and farm well. Last setting is our main goal. But I want to talk about reference points in the laning phase as well. When are we generally speaking going to be in a fine position compared to when are we generally speaking going to be vulnerable? So, in other words, if the wave is pushing towards us, are we happy? Yes, because we're not forced to walk up for last hits. The wave is coming towards us, we can just chill and be in a good position. However, after the wave crashes into my turret, it is naturally always going to be bouncing away from us. And those are going to be the moments where we will be vulnerable because we're going to be forced to walk up for last hits, which means that the Jax can set up trades against us. We could potentially get ganked. And so we always want to make sure, in terms of mentality, that we're healthy enough or strong enough to play out the bounce scenarios. Bounces are going to be the most tricky thing to navigate in any Mundo matchup. Even though our goal is to try and get pushed in the early game, we want to do it in a way where we're not making the matchup too volatile, because we want to always be able to play out the bounce. When we see that our jungler is pathing to bot in the early game, that also means that our jungler most likely is not going to be present on the first bounce, because depending on the crash that he does, the wave is eventually going to bounce, and my jungler, of course, is pathing to bot. So I just always want to keep that in the back of our mind. But past that, right, we landed 2 Qs before the laning phase started. Beautiful, that's one of the biggest strengths that Mundo has, is his Q range, right? Even though he's a weak level 1 champion, you hit your Qs and your auto attacks, you can still definitely look for trades. So now my goal is to just try and get pushed in a manner where I'm not setting up any trades, and I'm just looking to mostly Q the last hits, and if he gives me the space, like he's not sitting on top of them, I could also look to auto, right? So here I'm trying to see if I could look for auto attack, but he pushes very aggressively, so I'm mostly just looking for Qs instead. Now, here, one could argue that I'm faker, another could argue that I got lucky. Not gonna lie, he went for the last hits, I went for the last hit, and I killed him so I get slowed, so his E didn't proc my passive. Beautiful, we still keep our passive. Crucially though, he has priority, and so he's gonna hit level 2, and I'm all the way, like, I'm just gonna step all the way backwards and just, you know, look to farm this last hits with my Qs. I hit another good Q there. As you guys can see, I'm making sure this matchup isn't volatile, and I'm not losing too much health. Keep in mind, if you Q a minion, you get half the HP back. If you Q him, you get all the HP back. And here is the first big thing that I'm going to be doing to delay the bad positions that we want to avoid. If the wave crashes into my turret, it is going to force a bounce position. However, what we can do is try to keep the wave in what I refer to as, say, the happy spot in the laning phase. If we're playing here as Mundo, we're always happy, because we're close to our turret, ensuring that we're not that easy to get traded on, especially by a melee character. Range champion can still harass us here. But what this also does is it doesn't make us gankable to any positional gank, right? So we can't get ganked here, we can farm for free, and it's hard to trade onto us. So I see now that the third wave here is approaching, and instead of just letting this crash all the way, I'm going to try and at least keep these ranged minions outside of the turret. So you see here, I'm taking a little bit of minion aggro, but what this does now is instead of these minions crashing into my turret, it keeps it out of the turret range, so that the Jax now has to farm the third wave close to my turret, but I can also farm for free, right? This is the first step that I do this, and I do this in so many Mundo games when I'm getting pushed in the early game. And this is a really big trick to utilize, because as you guys can see, this Jax is absolutely unable to trade onto me, and I can farm any minion for free. And I don't only do this once, I'm gonna do this multiple times. I see that wave number 4 is still relatively far away. So if I take over the aggro from these minions, it can cost me quite a bit of health. So I have to be crucial, I have to be aware of that. However, if I can just tank a means for a short duration, it can help me to play in a better position for a longer time. So again here, I'm willing to take these 3 casters, and it's going to cost me a little bit of the HP, but it's going to make sure that now for the 4th wave, my minion wave number 4 is going to meet here, but also his minion wave number 4 is going to be meeting here, which allows me to then farm the wave in a very comfortable manner. And even though we're playing against a Flash Ignite D-Blade Jax, I've been able to go like full even in this matchup. You see me use a potion here relatively early on, and that is because I understand very well that even though the wave is going to meet here, it is naturally going to bounce. The reason that it's going to bounce is because right now, my minions are only walking this line. So we're drawing lines on the map. We're here right now. My minions from base have to take this distance, and his minions have to take this distance, right? And you see it's significantly longer. So every additional minion wave that's going to come out now is always going to be faster. My reinforcements are faster. Actually, the wave is going to push away from me. In terms of level up timers and fundamentals, I'm going to pause the frame for a second here. Do you know when you're going to hit your level 4 on the dot? It's going to be the first 3 melees, minion, and 1 caster. It's important to note because right now 2 things happen, right? Because the wave is here, I'm actually able to get access to this wave state first, allowing me to potentially play for my level 4, which would make playing out the bounce significantly easier. Second thing is, we verify that Viego is actually bot side, so playing the bounce here is still going to be easier than, of course, if the Viego is top side here. So my main priority right now is going to be to try and play for my level 4, because I'm not looking to kill this Jax. My only job right now, the only job is to try and get this bounce into the turret. If we get this to crash into his turret, we're going to be super happy because he's playing with Flash Ignite, so the wave is going to be in his turret. I can just recall and I can base teleport back. I will have item advantage, and then I'm actually going to be in a good spot. But if I die whilst the wave is pushing towards him, right, I'm going to be forced to look to walk off for trades here and potentially fight him. So I just want to not really look to fight him at all costs. I just want to try and guarantee that I can get this wave to crash into the turret. That is my #1 goal. Okay, so I'm going to E this minion right here and get it AoE'd, because the faster I get this minion wave lower, right, I clear his wave, I get my level 4, and I also keep a bigger minion wave for myself. Here, I know that I will hit my level 4, and he needs to kill this Kenami before he gets his level 4. So every level up is, give or take, 600 gold worth of stats. So if he wants to fight me now is where I'm willing to fight. And take a look back here. We're going to first let it run out, and then we're pretty much going to analyze this all-in right here from start to finish. Now, he decided to all-in me here, and he fails miserably, and he dies. But why was this fight even so good for me, and why did it look so easy? Well, first things first, as we talked about, we hit level 4. Now take a look at my HP. I'm 970 HP right here, but when I level up, I'm going to have 1070, right? And in terms of my AD, you can see it, but my AD will increase, my armor will increase, and I have 2 points in my Q, right? So I'm stronger than him here because I just have better stats. What's also really important to highlight here is that my W is up and my passive is up. Now take a look at how I use it both. He jumps onto me here with Q, and so I wait a little bit, and then once he's gonna auto W me, that's when I time my W. So you see now, he used his burst combo in auto W to proc his lethal tempo, and of course this is the biggest burst combo that Jax will do, and I'm keeping my W active for his E damage too, and then whilst I'm still in melee range, I recast it. I used my W for his burst and recasted it, and I now of course have my grasp, I have my Q, I have my biscuits, I have the minion advantage. Everything is in my favor. So now it's a matter of alt Q, and the rest is history. He's a level down, and I, took his full burst combo. That is why we won this so convincingly. Now, of course, the rest is here very simple. If the Jax decided to not fight, all I would have done is just hard push this wave and get it to crash. But by using our W like this, and of course having our passive, it was very easy to win this 1v1, and we're going to be able to set up our reset. Usually I wouldn't go for this plate, because it loses me tempo, but I have 1100 gold, and if I can get this plate, I will have 1200 gold, or 1300 gold even. And what would you buy at 1300 gold? Think for yourself, Ruby Crystal, and the Giant's Belt. Very simple, right? You always want to try and get as many Ruby Crystals, and if you can get the Giant's Belt itself, that is even better. What is happening with the wave in top lane is pushing back to me. As a result, I even see that the next minion wave walked into his turret. I'm going to be walking back here. And this is my general rule of thumb also with teleport usage on Mundo. See, when the wave is pushing towards you, you're not forced to walk up for last hits. Simple as that. So if the wave is bouncing back to me, I generally speaking won't TP back unless I'm going to lose out on a lot of resources. And I want to try and keep my teleport for the positions where I'm not going to be able to play out the bounce scenarios. Let's say in the early game here, I wouldn't have been able to play out the bounce. I simply need my teleport to base and teleport back so that I can contest the bounce again. Those are the scenarios where I'll actually keep my teleport for. So now we're just going to walk back to lane. Very standard. The wave is pushing back into me and we're just looking to try and collect. And again, I'm going to do the same thing that I was trying to do earlier, which is keep the wave in the happy spot position, right? So you see these reference points that I'm talking about by making sure the wave is pushing towards me, trying to play out the bounces, and then if possible, hold the wave in a happy spot. Cycling these things allows me to just play for free. And then eventually I want to try and of course stay high HP. As high HP as possible so that I can play out the bounce. Here I'm scared that the Jax is moving and my Xin Zhao is also invading the Raptors. So if I verify his move, I might look to hard push, but the Jax ends up coming back top. Now, as we also said, once I have some more HP, I'm going to be able to trade with him. My W timing was a little bit off, but as you guys can see here, I'm able to fight for extended periods now because of course I have 1300 golden items I got the earlier kill. He doesn't have Ignite, but you know, at the W here, I again use it on his auto W to insta recast it. My passive will block his E-stun, and because I now have multiple points in my queue, I'm able to keep the skirmish going as well. After this right here, we landed a few Qs. I'm waiting for my grass proc, I'm waiting for my Q to reset. Now I'm going to try and just, chase this guy. I hit my Q. Close your eyes, I know what's gonna happen. I miss this Q, and then it happens, okay? It will happen to me, it will happen to you guys as well. What's crucial though, is that I am going to be able to still get this wave to crash. So, as I always want to try and do, I want to put the wave in a position where my E is going to hit all of them. So I angle myself like this, auto E the minion so it hits all of them, besides cast it to the right, and we get the wave to crash, which leads into a plate as well. And now I'm going to be able to set up my reset, and the wave is pushing back to me in a beautiful manner too. Even though we end up losing the kill window, we got our main reference points, which is getting the wave to crash. And here I end up going for... I go Ruby Crystal and Regiv, which I think is fine. I could also do a Giant's Belt. I don't think it makes the biggest difference here. I just want to eco towards my Warmocks, of course, as fast as possible. Or the main reference point that we're still looking for is to always get the wave to crash into his turret. And I teleport here. And the reason I teleport is because I see Viego bot, Xin Zhao topside, and I'm level 6 to level 5. So even though the wave is pushing towards me right now, I feel strong enough that I can actually contest this bounce instead of just letting him push into me. Because my jungler is on my side and I have level 6 to level 5. So that's why you see I'm actually going to contest the wave here instead of just letting it push into me. Because I am realistically stronger. And if I'm able to crash the wave into his turret, I could potentially play for plates, right? Or I can just get to push it in. And so now after the second recall, because of the item lead that I've gotten and the level lead, I'm actually now able to play for priority for the first time in the laning phase. Instead of just continuously letting myself get pushed in, I'm now contesting him, which is always good, right? Because if I get to dictate whenever I recall, then we're always going to be in a good spot. Now, at level 7, I'm always trying to find angles with my E on the minions. And after 3 points in Q, we're going to start maxing our E as well. This is important. You want to try and time throwing your Qs when he's guaranteed going to go for a last hit, right? Now, he's going to try and all-in me here. I'm completely fine with that. I'm level 7 to level 6, so I don't feel too scared. And yeah, we just take the small trade and we're completely fine as is. Okay, he's looking for one position to try and roam, and when we're level 7, it's as simple. Level 8, you can one-shot the casters with EW. Level 7, you just E them like this, and then you auto-attack all of them, right? But you see, starting at level 7, right, it becomes easier for us to try and control these wave states, and I just pushed the wave. He looked away for 1 second, and I want to try and instantly set up my reset, because I have enough gold for another Giant's Belt. And okay, looks like I decided to end up canceling my recall here, and I do believe in hindsight this one is going to cost me. So Jax has to worry about health and mana here. So even if I were to look for any equal health trades, I'll be completely satisfied with that. Because if he loses health and mana and I only lose health, I should be in a fine spot, right? Because if we do that once or twice, I'll always win out. Now take a look at this position right here too. The next minion wave is approaching, and I very fast, because people are always going to be standing behind their minions when a new wave approaches, because they're always looking out for your Q, right? So what you can do is just Q auto E the minion, and boom, you get a free little bit of poke, and of course priority on the wave again. I believe here what's going to happen is I'm trying to set up my reset yet again and potentially trade with him, but we're going to end up getting ganked by the Nami, which I didn't account for. Some things go happen, and well, we end up dying. That's pretty much it, but we're still 2 plates up. We're still a solo kill up. He gets to share the XP here, and it's a small setback, but not too much. Now, past the laning phase, it's mostly just going to be neutralizing and everything we talked about earlier. I want to push out the wave and make sure it bounces back into me. If I can contest the wave, I will. I look to poke with my Q when he goes for last hits, and that's really it. Most of the remainder of this laning phase now is very standard, right? It's just a matter of bouncing waves and trying to speed up my progression towards the Warmock's armor. When a wave is neutral, my flash is on cooldown, my E is on cooldown. I don't want to look for massively extended trades, so small trade like this is what I'm satisfied with, and I cannot expand it past that because I also don't have my ult and I don't have my flash, right? So I should definitely be a little bit respectful, and well, I'm just putting the wave in this position as we've been doing earlier, right? These same reference points that we talked about earlier, I just want to keep the wave state right here, and all I'm realistically trying to do is get to my Warmock as fast as possible. So we're just trading some waves. Eventually, right, my Talia, yeah, the Talia ends up ganking. He just sets up his recall. I set up my recall, and I'm gonna go. So here, I believe it was better for me to just buy the Warmocks because you still get some HP on completion, sit on 1 Ruby. And now my goal is to try and play for 1 more Ruby Crystal or the full Giant's Belt, and then use my up-and-coming teleport to get to the full Warmocks. Past this, we're mostly just trading wave states until I get to my Warmocks. I get the second Ruby, I base TP back, and now, of course, my gameplay completely switches because now I'm able to trade as much as I want. And so long as I don't have to all in and use, say, my ult and or flash, I can just trade with him like this. He loses half his HP, I lose half my HP, I walk away, I make a quick phone call, and I go back to full HP, and there's pretty much no counterplay, right? Here is where we can get to start pushing. My CS is being consistent, my early game was very consistent, and this all spans from the early game position, where we got in the bounces a few times. Crucial reference point as well, once you're level 10 with Warmocks, and you, level 10 with Mundo, and you have your Warmocks, when you E a melee minion and align it with the casters, you'll actually one-shot the casters. This is also why we do 3 points Q, 5 points E. Level 10, you one-shot those casters unless you are very far behind. Right, so now my wave clear is absolutely obscene, and I can just trade as much as I want and as aggressive as I want. So long as he can't all in me, I can just walk to his turret, take a plate, and there's pretty much no counterplay because I have my passive for his E. I believe here, I was scared that he might get the extended fight, so I actually have to ult once, right? And I will have to flash, but he has now used his ult, he has used his ignite, he has no health, like he has a little bit of health and mana left. So we're just gonna wait for our Warmocks to come back, and well, the rest is history. He can't really play the game, and as a result, we end up getting the full turret before the plates drop. We are both 1 kill, we got a solo kill in the early game. Crucially, we got 5 plated turrets, and we did end up getting a big CS lead as well. So, to really summarize everything in this matchup, most important thing is to lose graciously in early game and try to always get the wave in the happy spot position. We're playing here, we're not vulnerable, and it's super hard to both trade into us or look to gank us. Then, the W timing is super important when the Jax jumps on top of you, and our main mentality is to always try and get the wave aggression to his turret so that it bounces back and we can scale for free. There you go. That is the first matchup right there. Let's do a mid-game breakdown and understand more clearly what Mundo's priorities are going to be when heading towards the mid to late and how he wants to pilot the map in general. Remember, we're the vegan top laner. Our main goal when playing Mundo is to try and get to level 16. We're not necessarily a skirmish-heavy champion. We want to try and get high resource income through gold and EXP, and playing for turrets is one of the best ways for us to get ahead in any game state. Now, and what's important to understand is that we've just taken down the top tier 1 turret, we've pushed out the wave in top lane, giving us tempo to now try and move around the map, and my main goal is to try and get a high natural resource income. What do I mean with this? That means that I want to try and get a high number of CS, a high number of EXP, and I want to try and prioritize turrets and jungle camps whenever I can as well. In terms of order, what I'm looking out for is going to be side waves into turrets. If no turrets, then jungle camps. Sometimes by pushing turrets, I can look to play for kills, and only when I feel like a neutral objective is possible to fight in a 5v5 scenario, that's when I'm going to be looking up to join for a team fight, right? Or if I feel like the neutral objective is significant enough, say like an Atakan. But past that, I'm mainly going to try and feed myself. I am a selfish champion. I want to get resources myself. And I'm reading the map state here, and I've just pushed out top lane. I'm thinking to myself, where do I want to try and play the map? And let's also address everything that we're seeing. So enemy jungle is significantly stronger than mine, 2 levels up. Enemy mid laner is significantly stronger than mine, 2 levels up as well, ahead in CS. We did get the first dragon, allowing us to not necessarily be forced to fight on every dragon, because of course if they have a third or fourth dragon, the game can get very scary. We never want our opponents to get a soul point. I would say the bot lane, we're slightly ahead, but it's not like we have a significant lead in bot lane the way that mid jungle does over mine. And we are ahead against the top lane. Now, if I want to decide who I want to sidelight against, if I'm either against the Ahri or Jax, it doesn't really matter. I'm stronger than both, and I have one of my crucial power spikes, which is level 11. Remember, at level 11, my ult heals me for significantly more than level 6. And so now the question is, where should I be playing the map? Well, I got the top tier 1. I don't feel like I can really reliably play for the top tier 2. So what I'm going to do is recall and match myself into bot lane, because this is where I can get the maximum gold income by playing through the bot turret. So I'm reset, and I'm going to communicate to my team that I indeed want to go and head over to bot lane. And after Talia pushed out the wave, I said, can you go top, me bot? And she listens. Beautiful. So my teammates ended up getting called in mid, and I see that Varus is matching me in bot lane. And now here's the crucial thing. I think enemy team is really smart by doing this, because take a look at the tab right here, and I need to get to good frames so you guys can see it too. Varus has a Blade of the Rune King, and the Ahri has no way to deal with me. Even though she's 4-0 with 130 CS, I can just push the wave and she can never deal with a health bar that is 4000. But the Varus, the Blade of the King, can. I have to be a bit more cautious when playing against the Varus, and I can never walk up to him unless I have my ultimate. So when my ultimate is still an 80 seconds cooldown, of course he doesn't know this, I always have to keep him in the back of my head that this guy is playing with the Blade of the King, and so he deserves some respect. But not enough. Now, I see that the turret is about a third of his HP, and my Demolish is ready. So I'm going to Q him here, and now I'm going to try and take this turret under his nose. Remember, the lower HP you are, the more your ultimate heals you, and he ends up missing his Q. I think if he hits that Q, this fight can get really close, but because he missed it, I ended up killing him, and this is a great way for me to get in the game, because the best XP income in the game is a solo kill. I get the bot tier 1 turret, and crucially now, I also get the side waves, allowing it to reset again. So even though my teammates ended up dying mid, my Milio died, my Lucian died, and Sinsao died, I at least get the bot tier 1, and I am fine with my position, and I'm trying to stay onto the map until I have 1.2k gold. Remember, the order of importance is going to be side waves into jungle camps, not the other way around. But yeah, now when Viego shows bot 4-0 level 11, it's pretty tricky for me to try and go for that side wave, so I'm just sticking around the map. Here I'm considering if I should recall, because if I sell my Doran shield, I would actually have enough for the Heartsteel, but I end up deciding to stay and see if I can get the additional gold required so I can get my Heartsteel. Here I'm going to tell my Talia to go back to top lane, because ultimately I don't want Jax to, you know, get the top lane turret for free. And I'm going to try and push out both side waves so I can set up my reset and get it. So they're making a play on the Jax. Beautiful. I got to just make sure that they can't kill me. Another thing to talk about is that Mundo has 2 get out of jail free cards. That is either going to be your Flash or Ghost, and the second one is going to be your ultimate. If both are down, you are as useful as a car without wheels. If you have either or, you have tools to always escape any scenario, right? Your ult just allows you to heal movement speed and run away, and paired with Ghost or Flash, you can escape a lot of tricky scenarios. But when either and or both are on cooldown, you have to be significantly more careful. So here, when I don't have ult and flash, you see I'm not going for any wave unless I can guarantee play for it, because the risk of dying is simply too large. So I'm not even walking up here until I verify that I'm allowed to walk up here. And I see Lucian pushing mid wave. Nobody's responding, and yeah, here the Viego ends up showing bot. So the Jax is gonna die top, but what enemy team is trying to do now is play for my bot tier 1 turret. Normally, if I had my ult, I would just try and utilize my ult and clear their wave, but because I don't have that, and now I verify Nami 2, I'm gonna have to leave here because I have nothing to defend myself with. I'm just a walking champion with a health bar, but past that, I have nothing. So I have to leave. But here I notice one thing. Take a look at the map. Talia just recalled. Ahri is mid. 3 people are bot. What does that mean? That means now that the stop wave, with the Jax being dead, is exposed. And I'm not looking for anything else other than pushing. And since Talia is not TPing here, I pinged it. And now I notice, wait, she's bot lane. Alright, Talia, you go bot lane. I'll go top because there's nobody to match me right now. Ahri mid, 3 people bot, and Jax is dead. I TP to top, and now I actually get access to the tier 2 turret. Now, the tier 2 turret are the best resource income onto the map because the tier 1 grants you about 300. Tier 2 grants you 700, and a normal wave grants you about 100 gold, cannon wave grants you about 200 gold, so I get a normal wave, cannon wave, plus tier 2 turret, boom, that's an additional 1000 gold that I'm gaining here. There we go, there's the cannon wave, 200 gold for us, normal turret, the tier 2 turret, 700 gold, and we get a huge spike of income right here, right? You see, I'm not actively looking for skirmishes, in fact, I'm looking to avoid them, but I'm trying to get to a position on the map where I can maximum gold income, so I put myself bot tier 1, I hit the side wave reset, And now, because they're playing into bot, I just found a, pocket of tempo to teleport top, and I got the top tier 2 turret as well. Now we're taking a look at this game state after all of those sequences. I would argue that the game state arguably looks worse than before, right? The Viego's gonna reset soon, and he's still 2 levels up. And now I have a Dragon 2. This guy's still 2 levels up. And I would also argue that, yeah, I mean, the AD carry is a little bit even, but I mean, their support definitely can do more than mine, and also as ahead in items with an item spike here. So the game is very hard to play, and I'm still fine putting myself against either Ahri or Jax, but what I also notice here is that I'm actually not even ahead in the EXP curve compared to enemy team. I want to try and really be the first one to hit to level 16, because if I'm able to do that, I'll be dominating this game, right? But I see that Ahri's already level 13, we're not even halfway there. So this game is definitely hard to try and pilot when they're ahead in EXP and ahead in gold. So I'm really happy that I got that tier 2 turret to at least equalize the gold position. And yeah, I'm mostly playing away from enemy team. If they're gonna go top side, I wanna go bot side. If they're bot side, I wanna go top side. And now we're in a crucial position where we also have to decide on itemization, right? So in this position, we have to choose. Are we gonna get our Heartsteel? Are we going to go for the Max Slipper Titanic Hydra one-shot build, or are we going to go for Resistances and go for the Elo build? Now, because we are behind and we have a pretty big health bar, building more damage is not necessarily going to save me, because this guy has a lot of damage, this guy's gonna have a lot of damage, he could even go for Blade Rune King himself, and the Varus already has a Blade Rune King. So even though the Titanic Hydra might help me side lane against this guy and this guy easier, it's going to make it even harder for me to potentially join any skirmish. And so I am forced this game to go for tank, also because there's no other form of tankiness in my team at all. And I will lack a little bit of damage, but I still have 3 carries in my team here too. So I need to go for the tanky build this game. If I build Titanic Hydra as my 3rd item here, I am pretty much trolling, because I will still be able to get killed. And by building tanky here, it's harder to kill me, and that's actually going to allow me to end up dealing more damage in any given skirmish. And remember, the Elo build, generally speaking, is going to be good too. And here I decided to go for a magic resist component first. That is because I'm thinking that they're most likely going to put the Ahri against me in side lane over the Jax, and the Nami is also able to amplify people's damage with magic damage too. Same thing as before. Side waves into turrets, if no turrets, then potential jungle camps. So we're just pushing out the bot waves, we're trying to maximize our gold and EXP income, and now I have my flash and ult, so I also feel pretty confident to do anything on the map. Ahri is top, ends up getting the turret and killing my Talia, so I mean top lane is completely cooked, but we ended up killing the Varus and Jax in mid lane. Not sure how that happened, but we get something to work with. Obviously now my goal is to try and push this bot wave as fast as possible to try and see if I can secure this bot tier 2, because I'm not looking to join the skirmish at all. In fact, if I move mid lane, maybe I get a kill, maybe I get nothing, but by pushing out the side waves, I'm guaranteeing the gold and EXP income by the side waves, but also the potential tier 2 turret, right? And that's where we can get maximum gold. And in the meantime, by prioritizing this, I've also climbed up all the way to 10 cents per minute. Now, honestly, in the game, remember how Ahri had used ult top lane, and I saw that? You're not allowed to stand in side lane against me, buddy. So I'm going to try and kill this guy, but unfortunately Lami's still alive. I ult here a little bit too early. We get about the entire turret, just barely able to finish it. But yeah, now everybody's back on the map again. Jax is gonna respawn, right? Ahri might get her ult. I don't know the cooldown exactly, but I know it's not gonna be too long because she's playing with Melicans as well. So once we've done sidewave into turret, I'm now trying to look for the jungle camp instead. But crucial, I don't have my ult. And remember, what do you do when you don't have your ult? You are not gonna be playing as aggressive anymore. You're just more so receiving, not trying to gain anything. So when I see the Jax, I instantly walk away because I know I can't really look for anything extended. I don't have my ult, I gotta back off. It's so important to recognize. Right here you see, I'm even flashing in advance because I know we don't have ult. It's just really hard to get out of any scenario. You're just a walking health bar. You're just a walking health bar. So I say this should not be legal, team. I shouldn't be typing. This is some frustration from me. Move fast, Alois, you are a piggy. Okay, so yeah, they got me good. I believe the Ahri flashed on me, right? So yeah, I dodged the Jax E here, not mattering. The Jax is only 1.5 items and I'm almost 2.5, but the Ahri is 3 items. So yeah, no, the Jax didn't, no, the Ahri didn't even have to flash, yeah. And so I just ended up dying. Can't really do much about it, sucks. We push out the mid wave, so at least lose a bit of tempo on that sense. And I believe here we do end up killing the Viego, so at least our team is trading something here. Which, I mean, that was pretty clean by the Sinzal. Let's keep it a $150. Okay, let's get back to the game. So now I'm level 13, right? And let's address the map one more time. And this is one of the biggest skills that you have to learn to do as well in your games, right? Whenever I'm playing, I'm always pressing tab and keeping tab on everybody's item, right? So I know how strong everybody is. So here I see, well, Ari is, 6-0, 16 Magi stacks, 200 CS, and level 14. She is the main leader of this game. Viego, also very strong. Still, there are 2 levels up here compared to mine. And we're going to have a neutral fight coming up here. But I also see that, I mean, no flash here, no flash here, no flash here. Hard, really hard to look for the skirmish here, right? So, I mean, this next dragon and Atakan is important, but when we're looking at a full 5v5, I have a little bit of item lead against the Jax, and we have a little bit of item lead against the Varus, but past that, they are stronger everywhere else. So, let's take a look. I'm going to be opening up probably into top lane, because Ari is pushing it out, and my ult and teleport are coming back up. However, I decide against it, because the Viego is still dead, and my teammates, I believe, end up almost catching the Jax. So, top wave is even, but that wave doesn't matter that much because the neutrals are pot side. And so we spawn the Herald mid. Ooh, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Well, we're playing the dragon. Oh, I remember what's going to happen. My idea here was to Herald towards bot lane. And I'm going to use that Herald to try and play for bot tier 2 turret. What ends up happening here is the Herald does nothing. But I've actually baited my team to stay in the river. The Xin Zhao ends up getting caught by an REE. And the Nami finds an ultimate on all of us. And my team is now somehow getting collapsed on by the Jax and the RE. And we get wiped. That sucks, right? Ari is already level 15, and now she just used her ult in front of me, but she now also, you know, might get the chance to play for Atakan. And I'm forced to use my ult because his Viego is super strong too. Now, what should I do after this, right? There's a lot of things to do. We can catch the mid wave, we can catch the top wave, because I'm thinking here, enemy team is most likely playing for Atakan. So my job now is actually going to mid wave and trying to see if I can cross map the mid G2 turret, right? I can push out waves and I can look for turrets. That's my main win con always. But yeah, we got the third dragon, which slows down their soul wing condition, and we can, you know, farm up a little bit more. Fortunately, though, they are going to get the Atakan because I honestly baited my team to walk there. But what I want you to keep note of is that throughout this entire game, right, I got 1 kill here on the Jax at like level 4. And honestly, I can't even recall my other kill. What was my other kill? That's way later. Where was my other kill? Oh, here on the Varus, right? So past that, we haven't really gotten anything done. Okay, but here, after the Atakan, right, we're not looking for kills. We're still trying to get our main gold and EXP income through waves and turrets. And, well, the Ahri ends up beating here. And even though she's level 15, right, I just want you to take a look at that. Even though this guy is so mega fat, and she has Sonya's, Magi's, 2.5 items, 606, I just give her a quick reality check that I'm still always going to be her father, so long as she doesn't have ult. Alright, just a little bit of a gentle left up here. But now when I don't have flash, when I don't have ult, remember, be super careful on these waves because you're nothing but a walking health bar. So the second I see people approaching, I'm walking backwards. I simply can't do anything aggressive. You have to be so cautious when those abilities are on cooldown. Game plan is the same. I get to spike to my third item here. I've been able to keep up with my CS numbers. I'm 10 CS per minute. And I spike on my third item. And I'm keeping tabs throughout the game on everybody's EXP and items here too. And I see that Ari is already level 16. The jungler is a little bit more even. My bot lane is fine. And of course, I'm still stronger than the Jax. Okay. So, I don't have ult. If I don't have ult, I'm not looking to join a team fight, period, right? Your use is without your ult, so you always want to wait for that. And now, of course, my next item is going to be the Dead Man's Blade. So, Jax is looking to hover into mid. I should always communicate, and I would just try and do farm sideways. I'm asking for rep buff, because if I get the rep buff, I know that I'm going to be able to fight the Jax 1v1 relatively easily. And my main goal right now is to try to get to 4 items at level 16. I know at level 16, I will be very strong this game, right? So, Lucian ends up taking the rep buff. That's completely fine. I tell him to just, you know, don't carry too hard. Yeah, here with rep buff, I get potential kill pressure on the Jax, but that's okay. We just have to let him slide, and yeah, he goes away. That's all good, right? We can't really do much more than this. We do have our ult. I tried to look for an R2 proc, and instead, a mid lane, 5 breaks out the mid lane. So my team is fighting here, and this is an interesting position, right? So we actually killed the Varus, and normally, I would be avoidant of joining these skirmishes because I'm seeing a potential bot tier 2 turret here. And remember, a bot tier 2 turret is 700 gold, and that is worth more than 2 kills. However, my next minion wave is here. Jax got my wave, and because the next minion wave is so far away, I actually say, okay, you know what? Let's TP in because the odds of me getting this tier turrets are very low anyways. And if I can get some potential kills here, that could be very good for the game. But then my Lucian dies, my Milio dies, and they all get away. And now I'm a little bit frustrated because we get nothing in bot lane, but I also use my teleport. And yeah, now the game looks a little bit dire. Okay, so My goal here now is to try and see if I can bait them and just look at how disciplined I am with my ultimate usage. The lower HP you are, the more health you instantly gain by casting your ultimate, right? But I also want to try and see if I can bait them, and I'm very slow with using my ult ability because I know that once I use it, I'm going to be useless for the next 1.5 minutes onto the map. Because your ult doesn't necessarily, it doesn't lower in cooldown, right? It's still 2 minutes and only a little bit less because I have 10% ability rates. But here, two things happen. Talia finds the Ahri with the combo, and I use my ultimate here. And now everything overstays, I get my first shot on here. But crucially, the Ahri finally doesn't have ult, and we finally catch her. She uses her Zhonya's, doesn't matter. And we get a 1k shutdown. I get a 1k shutdown, I get the immunity to turret, I get the kill on Viego, I'm running level 15, and I see that I'm now very close to my Deadman's Plate as well. And here I'm like, we've been vegan for 24 minutes, right? I got a few kills here and there. I've been able to stay in the game and stay relevant because of my CS, but now I'm actually going to be very strong. And before I recall, I want to try and see if I can push out this bot wave. So we're going to be in sync with the Baron spawn. I want to try and get to level 16. And if possible, I would love to have 2.9k gold so I can buy my Deadman's Plate in one go instead of having to, recall and get back on the map again. So I'm going to stay in bot lane and I'm going to try and look to stay on 2.9k gold because then I will have my Deadman's Plate. So after getting this wave, I'm going to walk away. I want to try and sell my D-Shield, get my Deadman's, and I'm going to recall. And then randomly, Viego shows up and the whole Avenger squad shows up. Now, during the game, I was like, I don't have ult. I grieved the game here. But it is 25 minutes in. So even though they killed me in bot side here, it's a little bit of int macro by them because as a result, they're going to be losing the Baron. It was natural for me to stay on that wave. It's unnatural for enemy team to look for me. And, well, they got me. Well done, but they lose the Baron. Of course, this is not necessarily something that I set up. It's just what happens in the game. But crucially now, I'm going to be level 16. I'm going to have my 4 items. I'm still going to prioritize the Deadman's Plate over the Titanic Hydra. And now I'm a real monster. This is where Mundo is strong. And even though I'm only 4 and 3, right? I haven't gotten that many kills. I've gotten the top tier 2, mid tier 2, right? I've gotten the bot tier 1, top tier 1. So I've gotten so much gold income throughout the game. And this Ahri has equal farm to me, more kills and assists, but I have more gold. Because of all the turrets that I've gathered and the farm that I'm taking, right? That is what you're trying to do every mid-game as Mundo. So now when I hit my 4 item spike and I get my level 16, now I get a surge of confidence because I understand now that any skirmish that they take, I'm simply unkillable during my ultimate cast, even to the Varus. And my main goal now is to try and play for the bot tier 2 because that's still standing gold on the map. And my last item is going to be Titanic Hydra here because now I've got my 4 components of the strong items that I need. I don't have Baron buff, my team does. Since I was on the map now, my whole team is leaving base. So they're trying to make a play on me before my team is able to catch up to me. But, well, I am a level 16 Mundo. And remember, at level 15, if they take your passive, you pick it up, you instantly have it again. So take a look at this iteration here too. Just real, oh, I am having my epic pen. Just watch this real quick too, right? When I lose my passive, boom, it goes on cooldown for 15 seconds. I pick it up, I have it instantly again. So, well, I just made this Jax look like a fool, and I took 3/4 of his health bar with one quick Ninja Chuck combo. Okay, so, I mean, I'm chasing up my Qs, I'm getting my passive again. That's why you should always prioritize your passive as possible, unless it's simply too far away like in that iteration, and the Jax ends up dying, giving us full tempo. Now for the first time in the game, I feel like we're leading. Doesn't matter, and this tier 2 turret now is going to be mine. Unfortunately, my AD carry finds a way to die, right? It's kind of been the name of the game. My teammates haven't made this a very easy game for me to play. I lose my Demolish, but we're still absolutely strong here. I have my ult, and well, we're gonna join the team fight simply because we can. Fight the Varus. I think nothing here is too special. Always kiting towards her passive if I can, but yeah, it was too far away. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna change the Ahri here. I don't know where the Viego's at. Back to push. Sorry, it's cringe when I say it like that. I just need the song, you know? But yeah, no, so there we go. We push the wave in. We get the Baron buff from the Milio, and we try and get the inhib turret down with the inhib before the Jax and Varus are going to respawn. So we end up doing so, and I stay on the map a little bit longer to try and get to, yeah, I mean, they're chasing me all the way here, and I'm trying to get to my Titanic Hydra before I recall, which I do so now. And so now I'm full built, and if we take a look at the map, right, even though I've only gotten 4 kills, right, I am full built at minute 29, which is pretty fast. Both teams have 2 dragons, and now it's mostly going to be a matter of teamfight execution. I see that my Lucian is almost on 4 items, Varus is on 3, but the Ahri is almost full built, right? This Viego should have his 3rd item as well. Their mid jungle is still the strongest. I would say Bolton is even, and I'm stronger than the Jax. Multiple ways to play out this game now. Baron is up in 2 minutes. Dragon is up in 2 minutes. If I join a team fight, I'm of course going to be strong. And if that's not going to be the play, then I can always just try and push side wave, gain pressure through that, because neither Ahri or Jax is able to hold me in side lane. So what I want to do now, in order to set up this Baron, is I actually want to push out bot because they need to send 3 people to stop me from pushing bot. Just Jax isn't enough. Just Ahri isn't enough. Jax and Ahri also isn't enough. So I pinged to my teammates that I don't want them to walk up. And look what I typed in chat as well. I said I can pressure end. That's how ridiculously strong I am, right? So I just tell my teammates to ping them away. I don't want them to fight. I don't want them to look for skirmishes. They just need to wait for me to draw pressure onto the map, and then enemy team can play. Fortunately, my team ends up walking up just when I finally get in the position where I'm going to be pressuring their base. It's not my mistake, right? They end up getting caught. And I don't try to salvage the play what they're doing. I am Mundo. I am the push guy. So I get into their base, give it ult 1-2, right? Give that guy an ult 1-2, demolish on the left one, and well, their base is gone. And then we ult, and because I cast ult around 3 people, you see the ult is amplified. We're level 60 Mundo here, and we walk out like nothing happened. And Riot Games, you don't even have to look at this. This is completely fine gameplay. At this point, right, we are what we call the push Mundo, 6 items, and we're near unstoppable. And the rest of the game now is pretty simplistic. We're gonna try and join a team fight. We wait for the Sinzao to spawn. We play for Baron. We end up getting the Baron. They get the Dragon, and then we siege bot lane. And well, we play out a good fight. I think the teamfight execution doesn't necessarily matter that much. I just wait till I'm relatively low HP and then I ult, so I get amplified healing, right? And I get more healing. I'm 10k HP, I can't even see my health. And well, yeah, I'm 500 AD with 10k HP. And well, the rest is history. We end up winning this teamfight. It was a little bit close, but I think the teamfight execution is not something that you guys can replicate in your gameplay in the sense that, oh, he uses button like this, I'm gonna use it like this, right? And well, let's play it out. Smack that guy back to his base, 420. Jax wants to try and come in. Nuh-uh, buddy. And then I'm going to smack that guy in the face. Of course, a gentle offense like so. Ahri is still here. And at the end, right, I just want to summarize the game that we saw here. In the laning phase, we summarized it. The reference point was mainly trying to play to neutralize, try to go even, but we ended up getting in a position where we're able to crash the waves pretty reliably, allowing us to get plates. Through that, we got ahead, and then we got the top tier 1 turret. Past that, right, when we get to the mid game, we're trying to get maximum natural resources income. Sideways into turrets, if no turrets, then jungle camps, and that is our main goal. We want to try and get gold and XP so we can get to level 16 and our item spikes as fast as possible. Even though this entire game was losing, I'm a continuous source of pressure on the map because neither Jax or Ahri is able to hold me on side lane. And because I pressure through side lane, enemy team has to respond, which then puts them in a pretty tough position to even be able to do anything against me, right? So Mundo is just one of those best champions to just pressure the game through side lanes, draw pressure, and I think we've broken down everything. We didn't necessarily need kills to carry this game. We needed a lot of gold and XP, and we did it consistently. That makes you a problem, and of course, if we get kills in laning phase, if we get kills in mid to late, the more the better, the more the merrier, right? So there you go. Great example of how to utilize Mundo and push to a victory. Let's do a full breakdown of how to properly play Mundo. There was one mistake that I've made heading into the game, and that is that I am not playing with the CEO Mundo skin. If you have the CEO Mundo skin, you're ultimately gonna be a better Mundo player. You're gonna have 20% more damage, 20% more fundamentals. The main goal here is to go over all the reference points that I've talked about, and unfortunately, Mundo, for one game, I actually don't care about, well, I do still care about sound, but not your voice, because I want to try and explain everything that I want to do. So, first breakdown that we do, we're playing against Heimerdinger, an absolutely annoying champion to lane against, and a complete neutralizer too. But what is our mentality heading into the laning phase? Going even is winning, falling slightly behind is to be expected, and getting ahead is the best thing. We want to try and not make our matchup too volatile. In level 1, we want to consider, can we go Q or E start? Well, against Heimerdinger, it's mostly going to look like a Q start. He's going to be stacking his stuff right here. I put my ward down, and I'm just going to try and see. Okay, so it looks like it's going to cost me 3 Qs to try and get the turrets down, and I can just get some 5 gold, not losing too much health for it. I'm going to try and look at Q onto him here, maybe. Oop. Not working, then I'll just take his turrets down, and so far, right, my mentality is just going only to be farming even equals winning. When I also take a look at the rest of their draft, right, they have a Orianna mid lane and an, I'm gonna just try and, it's right here. Of course, when he auto attacks me, it's gonna focus me. I have to just be a bit cautious, not throw too many Qs because I'm gonna lose too much HP. But there's an Orianna here, right, that I can outskill in side lane. And so my main goal is to just always go even in laning phase, and that's where we're gonna try and be fine. Okay, this is not gonna be that easy to last it. He's pushing very fast. That's also what, oh, my Lee Sin also, the Lee Sin also invaded the Jarvan here. There's a very spontaneous early game already. I simply cannot help. We're 3 for 3 on the melee. It's not the best start. Perhaps I shouldn't have focused his turret that much, but it's okay. Okay, listen, I'm getting tilted now. Heimer is simply one of those annoying laning phase champions to play against. That's simply going to be the name of the game here. I have to give up this last hits too, unfortunately. This one I can Q auto. And we just have to survive and try and go even. That's our only job, and that is going to be our main priority for the remainder of the game. Right? Try to not fall too far behind, and try to stay relevant. He's almost got a plate already. There's just very few things I can do about that. Damn! I am already 8 CS down. But do not worry. That is to be expected when playing against Heimerdinger. Remember, going slightly behind is to be expected. Ooh, he's already invading my jungler again. He's only level 2. My jungler being. Yeah, see, these minions are absolutely annoying me, but there's just nothing I can do about it. I don't want to try and make the wave push into him. I want to still make sure that the wave pushes into me. All right, he's stacking up his turrets. I'm going to have to give up the cannon because he's blocking it anyway, so I'll go for the melee minion instead. Shit, I'm getting the cannon. Beautiful. Alright, we got the cannon. Then I'm happy. I'm going to use my biscuit because there's relatively low HP. And I'm just going to make this wave crash into me. We're playing with Castellan and with Mundo. So we have 2 champions that will Omega Spike at level 16. And my only job, and I'm telling you, my only job is to just try and not die in laning phase and stay relevant when it comes to resource income here, right? I'm going to Q that minion. 3 points Q, then Emax. And it looks like enemy team is doing an extremely good job on trying to make this matchup as volatile as possible. I'm not sure if we can get a gank here, but down to look. I can Q him when he's stunned. Okay. I'm gonna potion here just so I can die to the turret. And this is a really nice position because it's rare for me to get a kill in the early game. I'm only getting it because the Heimerdinger is of course playing quite overextended. And I just see how much gold I would want to try and get. So I think I'm just gonna recall at 1100 gold. And that's going to be double ruby and a redshift beat. But it just allows me to stay relevant because I was slowly falling behind in CS. And he's actually gonna make sure that this wave pushes into him. So I'm losing resources so long as I'm not getting my recall in, right? So I gotta make sure I TP back fast. And I'm going to go double ruby and the redshift beat also because this is a range champion. So we're going to have to play a little bit more towards the sustained edge. Put a potion here. And I got to TP back because the wave is pushing away from me, right? If the wave is pushing towards me, I can stay. And the Heimer is actually still ahead in the XP. He just got level 5 and he's still going to collect a much bigger wave. My Jarvan is losing pretty hard. Lee Sin is making my Jarvan's life very hard. And yeah, I'm losing in CS to the Heimer as well. We're about 10 CS down. But that one kill allows us to stay relatively even. Okay, I really gotta look in last. Yeah, pre-standard laning phase here. We're expecting to fall behind. I should have W'd there. Now I'm gonna force my position, trade a little bit of health to guarantee that I get this wave to crash. I'm not gonna pot so early and wait till he goes for last hits. Reminder, when they go for last hits, that's when you're gonna throw your Q. Like so. Like so. He has to worry about health and mana. And now that I'm level 5, I got 1 reset in. He's gonna hit his level 6 faster, but I want to try and not make it too easy for him, right? Right, bait out a Z. And like I said, he's gonna hit level 6 a little bit faster, losing another melee. We're about 15 CS down, but again, that is kind of to be expected. At minute 6, there's gonna be a plant in the river spawning, so we don't want to give him access for free. Would hope my bot lane can stay relevant in the game, but they also have Caitlyn Morgana. They have 3 winning lanes. Not easy. Not easy for my jungle, not easy for anybody else on the map. But I'm level 6 here. If I can take these turrets out, he's gonna be in a pretty tough spot here. I'm gonna try and angle this hits in a way where all his turrets die. I was in a tough spot. Try to see if I could maybe bait out his ultimate. I'm gonna use 1 biscuit here. I have 1 remaining 2. Remember, he doesn't have flash. Trying to find an angle here. Hit him. Hit something. Trying to bait out his ult. There it is. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to look to try and kill him. But what this does do for me is now I'm going to be able to set up my reset, right? I just try to bait out his buttons and it's going to give me tempo in the lane because now I'm going to be able, by forcing it all in, to just be able to push in that wave. Maybe I had kill pressure on him if I lent my Qs, but I wasn't entirely sure. And I want to make, like, what I am sure about is if I hard push here, I'm going to be able to crash this wave here consistently. And I might be able to just snatch in a quick plate right now too, which is going to give me 900 gold, which is a significantly better recall because I can get a giant spell instead of double ruby. Okay, try and sneak this out as well. Waiting for 1 more E. Okay, the Lee Sin is in my jungle again. Beautiful, we got the wave to crash. Okay, Lee Sin is behind me. This Heimer might try to set up a freeze here. So what I'm considering is perhaps just dying for a proxy. I don't think he's accounted for that. And this is a bit of a psychopath play. What it does do, however, is it gives me tempo. And I lose pretty much nothing. Lee Sin can look for me. That is going to be very likely here. I'm gonna try to start my recall. Ooh, this turret is just gonna block my main wave from crashing. That sucks. It stops all the minions from walking. Ooh, now I'm gonna lose that full wave. It's okay. We do get the giant spelt and we can run back to lane now. We've pretty much neutralized the deficit that we had, right? Okay, no. It's pushing back to us, so we don't lose much here. And now I lose no wave either. Yeah, my Jarvan is getting permanently invaded and we just can't really blame him because the Sin is playing it so amazingly well. And we have no prior top lane, no prior mid lane. I'm just gonna say, sorry, Jarvan. You can play with 3 losing lanes. But it's also the level 2 what happened, right? He got cheesed and Lee Sin just keeps on invading and keeps on invading him. My goal is to just try and skill into the game. That's when we're going to be relevant. I'm going to have ult and ghost here. So, I mean, if this guy overextends himself like this and he's going to be very disrespectful, I'm mindful of the all-in window, especially if I'm able to snatch his turrets away from him. Okay, he has full Conqueror stack, so I should be a bit respectful of that. If I auto eat this, it's gone. Oof, but the Conqueror is still a lot of damage. Okay, I think I can't. I get his turret though. We trade. I use ult and ghost, but he's gonna be forced to set up his reset again. He hasn't gotten any plates crucially though, and remember, so long as we're able to be in a position where we can farm even, I'm happy, right? So here again, he uses ult, I use my ult, we trade it, but what does it do for me? I'm able to get in a position where I get to wave to crash. So I'm using my ult, not as a tool to all in him, even though I tried. I noticed quickly that I can't, so instead, I'm just looking to use it as a way to set up my reset again. And that is what's allowing me to stay in a relevant position. Okay, I'm not gonna go for the plate here, because I have no ult and no ghost. I have no get out of jail free cards, and I saw the Lee Sin right there, so I'm not even gonna get tested. We have our teleport, so we have one way to always set up a free reset, and I believe in this position, I'm actually gonna prioritize this, which seems weird, but I'll explain why. I want the Ruby Crystal, I definitely do, but I can't buy 2, so then I could only buy 1, and I'm gonna get my boots at 11:15. So I think here buying 2 rubies is gonna block me from getting my boots. So I'd rather buy this now, then get 1 more Giant's Belt, and then finish the Warmocks. It's a little bit of a tricky one there. Ooh, I hope my bot lane can stay alive. We are getting flanked. Oh, they're committing to this guy instead. Oi, 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 oi. That's not good. I'm gonna have a breaking point to this guy though, like level 11. I can start running this guy down, nothing he can do about it. Ooh, there's more turrets behind. I W all his damage here though. Okay, I want to try and make it a little bit more volatile so that when my Kassadin ganks, this guy can die. I think he's dead here. Oh, he does have ult. I have to dodge this. I might still be dead. Please! Oh, how is this champion so strong? Oh, that's well played by the Heimer. That is really bad for the game. Maybe I can kill him here. Please tell me I can kill him. Okay. We needed that. We really needed that. Okay, you overstayed for the wave, and I get solo queue XP now, but it's not gonna be an easy game. We have a losing jungle mid bot, and I'm the only one that's relevant in the game. I like being relevant, but I also like my team still being in the game as well. We're 2-0 though. We're even in CS, and we got 1 plate. I am in need for how much gold? So one way to just hard push the wave like so. Oh, I think I have, yes, I have Warmocks and Giant's Belt. So the biggest fundamental when playing Mundo is this is the time where you turn on the push on. Now you gotta turn on the push on, otherwise you make the game hard for yourself. Do I ever TP here? Do I ever find a way to TP? Probably not. Oh, they get away with the play as well. Oi, oi, oi. I think I'm gonna TP here because he doesn't have flash and ult right now. If we make a play, this can work. I'm still about scaling this Lee Sin very hard. It's just flat damage Lee Sin player. And now, of course, we one-shot the wave with our E. I use my teleport so that I can play for plates here with the... Ooh. Now, this is really good for the game. That's a solo kill for our guy. Oh, no. Jarvan doesn't even get the rep off. He's 30 CS. We can scale. I understand that my teammates are very frustrated here, but my Kassadin is on the same wavelength here. My Jarvan is really out of the game. I don't think I've seen a jungler underperform this hard in a while, but yeah, it's also been a really hard one for him. I want to put myself into mid lane because I've got them 4 plates. I'm going to say, can I mid plates? I just want to maximize my gold income during the duration of my Warmocks. I got 3 plates in top lane, and he's going to perma push me now with Warmocks, but this guy... Okay, I see this is also playing Tabis. I can trade with him. I'm just going to go back to full HP with my Warmocks, right? I'm also going to be able to hold the mid-tier turret. And this guy's playing with Aerie, no phase rush, so she can't run away from me. Okay, we get our first spike here in... Okay, my ghost here, I might kill him. The Kassadin got the Lee Sin kill. Level 11. Remember, passive. Level 11 is a giant spike. Kassadin gets the shutdown on the Lee Sin. Now we're good. Okay, so crucial here, right? No phase rush, so she can't run away from my slows. Level 11 giant spike. And... don't steal my gold, please. Oh. Well, I was occupied pinging the Milio, so I killed myself in the meantime. He doesn't have ult. Sorry, I'm so sorry, my bad. I wasn't aware that their bot lane was going to go mid. I was yapping too much. It makes a lot of sense that their bot lane is mid lane though. And the reason as to why is because they got my bot tier 1. So the Caitlyn Morgana have nothing to do on bot lane anymore. So they're ultimately going to go mid to play for my mid tier 1. Okay, I want to finish the tier 2 boots. I'm going to go boots of swiftness. When I take a look at this map now, I'm leading the game in terms of gold and EXP. But it's not an easy game by any means. This guy has to be careful for Orianna. Yeah, Orianna's going to go bot. And I'm going to go bot. And Yunara should go mid. So I'm going to go bot lane now. Play for bot tier 1. I've gotten 7 plates in total. Kassadin is useful in the game now because he killed the Lee Sin, so he at least got a 1k shutdown. I still outskill pretty much everybody. I can win side lane against Heimer and Orianna, but team fights are tricky, right? Yeah, that's pretty much how the game's being played out now. I'll try and chunk this guy as much as I can, because I go back to Fuji. I have no ult, no flash. No ult, no flash. Careful, right? No ult, no flash. Play safe. I want to try to play for the bot tier 1. Probably next dragon we're going to have to avoid playing for. I'll have my TP around the next dragon, so what I'm also thinking about now is maybe around the next dragon, I can find a way to push top lane instead of being bot lane. Okay, I see 4 people mid, 1 person top, so I can push this bot wave, and we want to try and go for the hardsteel ASAP. I think I'm only pushing this wave and setting up my reset though, unless the Orianna stays mid. Okay, 4 people mid, my team should just avoid. I'm pushing this instead. I think we're all dead. Ugh, we gotta avoid fighting, man. This is a tricky game. Not an easy one at all. Probably have to be a game where we build tanky and not the machine gun Mundo strategy. Because if we do that, we're going to be able to get one shot by them. I'm going to now reset and go top lane. I'm going to play for this. I'm going to say give drag, try Herald. I'm going to build Heartsteel. And yeah, because I'm going to side lane against double AP in the form of Heimer and Orianna, I reckon we should go Spirit Visage first and then get armor against the Caitlyn and Lee Sin, who are both very strong as well here. We just got to find ways to neutralize and play for our position, right? Like our win condition is pushing side waves, pushing waves. They want to try and stack up neutral objectives now. Any neutral that we can get delays their soul, which I would really want. But we're simply too weak with how strong everybody in the enemy team is. But this would be a great shutdown. We play away from the dragon. And instead, I'm trying to play for top tier 1. Alright, beautiful. Lee Sin ends up showing. Let's say avoid fights. I have ult. I am gonna have my ghost soon. I just want to play for the turret instead. I actually just really don't want to join this fight. I have my wave. I have tempo with the wave here. I think I'm gonna force it out here. Another thing that you can try and do as Mundo is I can teleport away when I have my passive, right? And Heimer has 1 way of stopping it. Now 2 ways. So here, sorry sir, but now your turret is gone. This turret is gone too. Come here, buddy boy. Okay, I think they're gonna chase me. Can waste a lot of their time though if they're gonna try and chase me. Which gives my team time to maybe play for this. I'm gonna ping my Jarvan to maybe play for this. He has a full item now. I think Lee Sin is gonna be on Herald. So now my team can try and play for this. Yes, there's 4 people on the Herald. So what I'm gonna do now is try to see if I can bait him to go to me. Okay, there's 2 people going mid. I could dive this guy. He has no ult. I don't think he's aware just how strong I am, buddy. That's Mundo. Ring around the rosy. No, sir. You have no ult. This is what Mundo does best. See, by playing for that tier 2 turret, by proxy, I can look for kills as well, because somebody has to defend. And this is what Mundo excels at. Destroying people, especially mages in the side lane. So now I just got the top tier 1, but I'm also now going to get the top tier 2. And now I'm going to be super accelerated in gold, even though we have an entire losing map state. Ooh, Caitlyn is top. I think I'm going to try and greed for this though. Even though it seems counterintuitive to greed for this, I should be able to get it. And now I never have to go top lane again. No, I don't get it. I'm a pig. Okay, this sucks. Why would this have been so good to get? I would have enough gold for this, and then I never have to play top lane anymore. This is a really big mistake now, because I give solo kill EXP to the Caitlyn, which now is 2 levels above my AD carry, and I don't have the turret, so now I need to spend the time to try and get tempo towards that turret again. I actually don't need a wave, realistically, and I don't have my item yet here. Okay, so I can't go bot lane yet. I want to go top lane for 1 more time. Atakan is gonna spawn, it's gonna be bot side, so the game is still very tricky. We don't win team fights, we can't really play mid waves, but we can still always try and play for side lane. This guy's level 13 now, right? Because we give her solo kill XP. Okay, my Kassadin's 2 items gonna finish this. Level 16, of course, is great. If we are able to somehow get Atakan when champions that, you know, we skill so well on levels, I mean, that would be probably the best thing we... I saw first one. Best thing we can do, but the odds of us winning a fight around Atakan are slim to none. Okay, I don't have my ult yet, so remember, no ult, play safe. This guy's rep up for half the duration. I'm gonna try and cheese the wave here, though. If they have no wave, they can't progress, which I'm fine with. Losing some HP is fine, so long as I don't make it volatile. Oh. Oh, it's a bit more damage than I accounted for. I think I'm gonna TP here. Can we try and hold them? I'll walk away. Please tell me I can kill this guy. I get my passive. Just in time. He's still at ult. That's 1 kill though. And that's 2. Can we play for Atacon with that? Can we play for Atacon with that? Because if we get this Atacon, I think we win the game. Okay, that's level 15 now. But I don't have ult. No, we can't play Atacon. We cannot play Atacon. We gotta play away from this. And there could already be people onto me as well. We play away from this. I'm gonna play top. Okay, we get 3 items. I get my Chain Vest 2. I need armor now against the Caitlyn and Lee Sin. Holy, is this game hard, eh? Level 15, level 16, we win the game. We can try and play mid tier 1. Hassan is getting in the game still though. No ult, no goes, so I can't really play the map actively, right? I've used my buttons there when I teleported in. Caitlyn's 3 items. Oi, 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 oi. They have so many win conditions, this Lee Sin. I mean, I shot down their solo laners a little bit, but this Caitlyn is also so ridiculously strong, right? It's not gonna be easy to reach that guy either. Like, if he hits me right now, it's gonna hurt my ass cheeks. I'm actually fine giving this tier 2 to the Kassadin, because he's another win condition, right? It's me and Kassadin are the only potential win conditions in this game. I'm gonna try and get this rep. Oh, please, please, please. No, that is so bad. That is so bad. Oh no, I'm gonna have to play for this myself now. Right, we're not gonna go for the Atacon. If this Jarvan steals it, it's the biggest thing ever. He doesn't even have upgraded smite yet, 20 minutes in. Okay, I'm gonna try and keep my Demolish. So I can use it. Oh, I thought he had it. I thought he had it. Oh, it's good. He attempted it. I think that's the best he could do anyways. We can trade at least 3 turrets for this. Make the game a little bit playable for ourselves. I can't tank it for him even. Hit him. He's gonna have to flash. Might not have it yet. Run. Run! I have ult. I think we're fine. Okay, listen, use flash on me there. No flash on Orianna. If Kassadin gets solo Q XP, he might get close to level 14. He needs to get this though. Oh. Mates, do something. Do we go for the death sentence again? If Kassadin gets that, he's gonna be level 14, right? He gets a solo Q XP, he's gonna be strong. What's a bit weird is that my jungler, I believe, is autofilled this game too. I'm gonna die for this. I mean, I don't want to play for this again. Okay, we got it. I hope I can escape. We've gotten to our 4 item spikes. Remember, we were hard losing the lane against the Heimerdinger, right? But by playing for side lane, we've now gotten 2 turrets here, 2 turrets here. I believe we got the bot tier 1 as well. We are 22 minutes in, yet we are 4 items on level 16. I've carried games like these before, but it's not easy now. I think this dragon we still can contest. I still think we should give. And I'm gonna try and play for this instead. Yeah, I have 8 kill participation out of 12 as well. The highest on the one is 3. Like, nearly everything I'm doing this game is by myself. I am just playing this game mostly by myself. Last item is gonna be our Titanic Hydra. Actually, I'm gonna have my ult. I think we should try, actually. If I have my ult, I can tank them for a, like, ridiculously long time here. But we're gonna need people to come in. I wanna pressure the Caitlyn. I don't have my ult yet. I'm gonna play slow. He's already dead. When no follow-up, I can tank them. I can't kill them. They're using every ult on me as well. Yeah, I was able to tank 5 people for a very long duration, but unfortunately the rest of my teammates are spectators. And that's it. Alright, I get out of there. My entire team is useless. If I have 1 teammate to play with, I actually think we win that team fight, right? Because I'm able to tank 5 people for the entire duration. It's just that we have to play against Soulpoint, Grubs, Atacon, and like everybody losing. So it's just such a tricky game to play. And I can only play with my ult cooldown, because remember, right? Your ult doesn't scale linear with the game. It's still like almost 2 minutes. I can just tank this. 1 minute is enough here for me to try and get this. It's just that I have to tank them in team fights, but I also have to kill them, which the combination of those two is it's just a little too hard because they have a lot of CC and ultimates that completely shut me down too. So it'd be good if we get something without me. Yes. I'm thinking now also that since 5v5 is so hard, I might have to change my game plan and instead look to go for split push. Because if I join a 5v5, I rely on my teammates to play well too. If I split push, I can potentially just do that without any assistance of anything else. Then do we maybe go Hullbreaker last year? Sure. Oh, I still think I should go Titanic because that house was pushing too. Well, my Jarvan still doesn't have upgraded Smite. I don't think I've ever seen that at a minute 25 game state position. It's fine because what that helps to prove is that even in some of the hardest game states, Mundo is still one of the best champions in the game. I hope my team can somewhat defend this. Alright. I need 2.9. Otherwise, I need to try and force the position that I just straight up dive this guy. Right? They need to send 2 to 3 people to stop me. We have 1 blue trinket left. It looks like they're looking for me right now because they have to deal with the Mundo on side. If they have to deal with me, my teammates get to play. This guy is also doing all-you-can-eat build. I think my Jarvan, I don't think I've seen a jungler this lost. Well, he did give me a kill at level 4 and he hit his E-flash combo, so hey, he's done that correct, right? Gotta give credits where it's due. They're gonna play Baron now. I didn't give them the play onto me. I have to push my position now and try to dive this guy. Oh, we're not even gonna get the chance. Then I just gotta get enough gold for my item. We're full build at 26. We've gotten 7 kills, which is a quite good amount. We are completely full build. I have 3k gold, so I can buy my item. My cousin is sadly only level 14, but we do have 3 items almost in 3 items. They have 4, 3, 3. My AD carry has gotten somewhat relevant in the game. I actually think I should go top lane though. I think we might have to give the soul too. So long as we don't lose the game, we get a fighting chance. We need Casting to get to level 16. I need my teammates to get a little bit stronger. But also, enemy team is still getting stronger too, right? Maybe this is the fight that we should be looking for. Orianna, stop, and Heimer's bot. This guy. Hot. Hey! Hey! I didn't see their solo laners. So what happens there? What happened, team? What happened, enemy team? Are we just gonna end the game with this? Jarvan with the flash alt attack? Is this enough to end? Wait a second! Might be enough, might not be enough. I'm unsure. We have to zone this guy from ulting the wave. I missed. Oh, she's ulting it. 1 minute is alive though. I think it's enough. I think we actually won this game. Well, there you have it. There you have it. That's how you climb with Mundo, guys. That's how it's done. Good luck on your journey. I'm with Mundo. Get out of here.